Hello, welcome back to our stream. We are finally looking at the most hyped series of the whole week, I think. Our game of the week finally coming up with the two top teams from spring, EVOS against DBL. Both teams won their first series, so now we're in hopefully for a treat. We had a few very one-sided affairs in the last few days. Everything was 2-0, save from the first series from EVOS, so hoping for a 3-game series. Are you hyped as well every day?
Yeah, I mean, this is exciting. Hopefully we get a more competitive series than we did earlier today. It'd be very disappointing to
Yeah.
see this one go 2-0, especially in that nature. But I think we're pretty likely to get a good series.
Yeah, I think even if we get a bit of a stomp here, it's a possibility that DBL actually looks much better than EVOS, I think. It could be happening. The gameplay overall should be better. After we really didn't show anything today, so not too happy with our first series in terms of resistance from the losing team. I think Son and Dia1 at least are players that will definitely resist, even if they lose the series in the end.
Yeah, I completely agree here. I'm hoping for some close games so that we can get a bit excited for once, because so far, I mean, fun games to watch, but not because of the quality of league. Which is not great. But between these two teams, so far we've seen, especially out of Dashing Buffalo, the most, I think, correct read on the current meta. I
Yeah,
think.
the only team to bring out the Sona so far. To be fair, Big has not looked too great with the Sona, but at least they are trying the Sona Terry, coming back from MSI, facing some international competition. We'll have to see if they still prioritize Sona heavily in this series. Not sure if VCS teams are actually ready to deal with the Sona. They won both games, so far 100% win rate in the bot lane there.
Yeah, I mean, it's certain. The thing is, it just doesn't. We've seen that the VCS plays such a unique style that you really do have to beg the question of, do they actually know what to do against the Sona Turret? Because it's such a different thing that we've seen develop in the rest of the world. How much are they scrimming against it? How
Yeah.
much are they seeing it in solo queue? These are all questions you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, but I think that being said, DBL was definitely in the position to lose the second game if it was not for Neven absolutely throwing that game away from the start to finish. So even though Sonataric usually does very well on the later stages of the game, they struggled a lot in mid game, and I think there's still a lot of question marks around DBL in terms of mid and late game macro and positioning, especially. They got caught out a lot by QTV or QG, as they're sometimes abbreviated there. So I'd like to see a bit of an improvement in shot calling, in decision making for DBL.
Yeah, I completely agree. They need to know where they're going in the mid game and how they close games out. Because as you said, despite even in that second game, even with Neven playing as badly as he did, there was still like that was basically just because Ryzo was a raid boss.
Yeah, and
If he had made
they
if
actually
he'd made
lost
a
the
few
gold
more
lead.
mistakes, yeah. If Ryzo had made one or two more mistakes, Dashing Buffalo loses that
Yeah,
game.
for sure.
Which is
Hey,
unforgivable.
you have to think about this. Razor had double the gold of the enemy top laner, and his team was behind in gold. So, yeah, the rest of the map not looking too hot, especially in the second game against QTV. I'd like to see them step up their game, but on the other side, I also want to see the mid jungle from EVOS performing like they did in game 2 and 3 against FTV. We saw two insanely good jungle performances out of Thorn so far. I think our only double MVP for one series. And yeah, he looked incredibly good on his new team, carrying everything on Elise and Graves. 10 kill Graves game. Do you remember that one?
That was pretty great. I've started playing Graves again in solo queue because of that game.
Oh
It's good fun.
no, poor solo queue.
Hey, I've got a good win rate. I've got like a
Oh,
70% win.
nice, nice.
But we do see the Elise ban immediately. I like that. Try and cut out some of the early game power for Thorn.
Yeah.
Uh, he's definitely scary. You don't want him getting off to a good start because he is able to snowball it for EVOS.
Yeah.
And Yubi banned back. We're not seeing any weird random bans, which I'm really happy with. We're only 2 in, but Kaiser's not banned. That's great.
That's already an improvement from the series early on today, so that's great to see. The elephant in the room, obviously the Sonar in this case. I'm not sure if EVOS wants to. I think EVOS should let Sonar through and see if they can challenge Buffalo on the Sonar. Maybe try to go for a hard-winning bot lane matchup. They have banned out the Yuumi. There's a possibility to go Xayah Lux here, Lux, I should say, in the first rotation on red side. Oh, they actually ban out the Lux.
I mean, something interesting that we haven't commented on is No Way is starting for EVOS.
Yeah, that's true. He lost the first game while...
Exactly, and then DivKid won twice.
Yeah, so they want to go back to Norway. To be fair to him, his game didn't look great, especially his laning phase was quite off against FTV. And as you just saw a few hours earlier, FTV's laning is not the greatest in the league. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared for Norway to go up against one of the strongest bot lanes, long-standing. They have played together forever, coming from Young Glory, I think was the team it was called.
Irelia is open. Ooh, but no, we're gonna. Looks like we will see the Sonar.
Immediate first pick Sonar. Nah.
Or Tom Kench. I don't think you need to bet. I don't think first pick Tom Kench is good when Irelia is open.
No.
Or
the
Nico, who we see a pretty inflated priority on.
Yeah, it's quite weird to first pick Nico into an open Aurelia, as I alluded to earlier on a lot. Aurelia is one of the matchups Nico really doesn't want to deal with. It's little bit better in the mid lane. It's in the top lane you really don't want to to get the matchup against Aurelia, and Aurelia is immediately picked up. EVOS with a very good second round. I like this approach to the draft.
I agree. Just picking up S tiers in 2 roles. Irelia can obviously flex between 2 lanes. This is a really good start here for EVOS. I do think it's interesting the priority on the Nico, and really Kaiser being picked up in the second rotation
so
here
no
for
Sonar. So no Sonar this time for Bicoro. A very old school bot lane, more like 9.8, even 9.7 there coming in from Dashing Buffalo. Don't look too... they don't look to have the best meta read for 9-12, I think. Playing Sonar 2 times in the first series is kind of an older strategy that's still working on this patch, but it's not the newest things, not the newest bot lane meta especially.
No. And also, I like this Morgana counter pick to the Nautilus.
Yeah.
I think that's really strong.
I think so far EVOS has hard won the draft.
So far, I mean, there's still a little bit to go. So I think Kaiser is fine. I think I'm surprised she was being picked over someone like Sivir.
Yeah.
But
or
I don't
Ezreal.
think it's or Ezreal, yeah, but I don't think it's a catastrophic pick or anything like that. It's not like they're gonna lose just because they have a Kaiser.
Yeah.
She's okay.
She's absolutely okay.
Nico is very strong. And we've seen that the VCS in general has a very high opinion of Nautilus support. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised to see him. I mean, to be fair though, with Lux and Yuumi gone, those are those premium enchanters out.
That's
I think Nautilus
absolutely
is a
true.
fine pick as well. But what I'm surprised here is not to see the Camille ban rather than other support bans.
Morgana is probably the support. Yeah.
So I had it in my head that it was Morgana mid.
Yeah, because we just saw it, from Optimus there.
No, of course not. You don't ban supports Morgana. In that case, then Camille being banned makes a lot of sense to get rid of a strong side laner, which might mean they're reading that DR1 is more likely to take the Irelia.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a bit confused by the approach from EVOS. I think if no jungler has picked up and you're a red side, you always want to pinch jungle and then pick the last remaining good jungler. So the enemy team really can't go for a very good counter pick as a jungle, not counter jungler, that's something else. But this time no junglers banned at all. So EVOS now has the first priority pick on. Oh, there's actually one jungle pick coming in.
I think that Gragas ban is almost pointless.
Yeah, I have to agree
the
there.
jungle pool hasn't been attacked at all. Like, there's so many junglers. I mean, Sejuani gets banned, but it's Sejuani, of course, she's banned. And there's so many picks both teams are going to get a jungler that they're happy with.
I might be scared of the Gragas Yasuo once again, but Gragas Yasuo is actually not that great in the EVOS comp, in my opinion. You will have 3 AD carries if you go for Gragas and Yasuo there. I guess Gragas deals a little bit of magic damage, but if he's not very ahead in the early game, the later stages of the game, I should say, then his AP damage is kind of negligible. So don't really like the Gragas ban there either. So we get to see the first J4 finally coming in.
Finally, it's unbelievable that we've cast so many
Yeah.
games. This is the first Jarvan.
And
Jarvan is such a solid jungler.
yeah, and especially Meliodas. Think back to MSI. He had some very high carry performances on the J4. So finally going back to him, we saw a whole lot of J4 into Rek'Sai matchup at 9.8. It's fallen away a little bit. Overall, I think Dashing Buffalo is not on the same patch, it looks like, in terms of draft. Maybe it's still lacking a bit behind in practice, because this draft is really not looking like a 9.12 approach. We have Cannon in top lane, who has kind of fallen away, especially here in the VCS. I think we have not seen too much Cannon. Now the traditional
the Cannon we
Western
have
counter
seen
pick. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I agree with you that it does look a little bit outdated. Things like Cannon, the Kaiser's a bit strange as well.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's actually 2 very good drafts overall.
Yeah, I think the power level of Dashing Buffalo's draft would have been much higher on 9.8. It's still a good draft. It has a lot of synergy, a good damage profile on the top side. We have a good late game insurance in Kaiser, good setup for Nautilus as well. Especially Nautilus Kaiser is such a strong pick combination there.
I think Dashing Buffalo just has a really strong team fight.
Yeah, and it's kind of a comfort draft as well.
Yeah, I feel like I personally, looking at the VCS, think picking for team fights is actually a pretty good decision because it seems like teams default 5v5s. And look at Dashing Buffalo's 5v5. Jarvan going in, locking people in the rage cage, Nico and a cannon, and the Kaiser using the artillery. Like, it's so much. EVOS needs to be very, very careful. We're going to have to, I think the Irelia performance out of DO1 is going to be a real focal point.
Yeah. And if Mias can stand up to Razor there in the top lane as well, he has picked for the counter. Is very prone to getting ganked there on the very gankable Victor, very susceptible to falling down, especially once his flash is blown. I like the Victor counter pick. I think overall it can control the cannon a bit in the team fights, deal more damage as well. I think in theory EVOS has picked 3 winning lanes, so if the players hold up, they could accrue a very big gold lead in the early game. All the lanes should have the priority. Maybe Nico into Irelia early on is in Nico's favor slightly, but in the later the game goes, the better it will be for Irelia on the other side.
Yeah, I agree. I think the question just becomes win conditions, and it does look like we have a pause here, so we actually do have a chance to discuss said win conditions. I think for Dashing Buffalo, it's fairly obvious that it's just 5v5ing around Baron.
Yeah, very good flanking as well. They can come from either from 2 angles with J4 and Cannon flanking from 2 different sides. Very good engage. You can front row the engage from the Nautilus pretty much. Approach the lane from one side. It looks like only Nautilus and Kaiser are there, and then J4 and Cannon come from all angles, and you collapse immediately. Very scary combination. But the enemy team has the Morgana. Morgana is not great against J4, but she is really good against Cannon. So Cannon might struggle here if he doesn't get the best flanks. And I have to say, Razor has looked very good in lane in the first series against QTV. But his team fighting, I remain to be convinced. I have to say, I need to see him on this pick now with a very good team fight performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think this will be a much bigger test for him than going up against someone like Neven was. That obviously really inflated his stats and the opinion we have of him, but let's see how he does against someone who should put up a bit more of a fight. I think one thing that will be interesting to watch in the early game is Sorn, because
He
where does he
always
gank?
is.
I mean, Sorn is always interesting to watch, but you have to consider, where does he gank early on? I think that's actually quite a hard decision.
Yeah, I think the only lane that's really gankable is mid lane. Nico is not the easiest champion to gank, but it's possible, especially with the follow-up from DR1. So I kind of expect an early mid lane gank, especially because Nico will push in the early on, so there might be a little bit of an opportunity there for Sorn, but also a very good counter gank opportunity for Meliodas if he's in time, and Sorn invests his flash to land the knock up. There might be a very easy counter kill set up for the jungler on DBL side.
Certainly. Oh, early hook there on No Way. We immediately see the power of the Morgana in this
Wow.
matchup. Killed E level 1 and gets a lovely trade because there's just nothing back.
He's skilled on level 1. That's so unusual, but he actually predicts the matchup perfectly and turns around the first trade on Palette.
My guess is that he hadn't put a skill point in,
Yeah.
and once he saw that the Nort might have been bush baiting, he put it into the E. Meliodas here, going early aggressive, saw that there was no blue
But they
take.
spot him, so now they know.
Yeah, but they've got to get there quick. He's going straight to blue here. He wants this 3 buff.
Yeah, and Zorn can't do anything about this because Null has priority in mid lane, so very nice adaptation for Meliodas. Even if it's spotted, Meliodas will get the 3 buff done. To be fair to Zorn, he's the mana independent champion on Rek'Sai, so he doesn't really care about blue buff too much. In terms of levels, he's still ahead because he took the Crux. The early Crux respawn as well, getting a lot of experience
a lot
going.
of damage up here from Raizo.
Oh, no.
Raizo really, he's got...
Does he have Q? No. Okay, set for Razor.
Still, that's a huge trade there. He'll have lane priority for quite a while. Victor started with the Doran's ring as well, so no corrupting pot to get him back in.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he'd already drunk his 2 health.
And now this dive is... Oh, he actually got back to 300 HP, so the dive is not the easiest. They have...
I think this is almost always a flash.
Double electrocute, though. Could be a kill. I think it...
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
wow.
It was...
I don't even think Meliodas needed to come in there. I think that was Raizo saying, "Come on, bruh, that was my solo kill."
Probably. Wow. Victor already not looking too great. At least he didn't blow his flash, and the kill didn't go over to the cannon, so not great for Mias, but not that horrible for him either in terms of 1v1 in the lane. Cannon getting ahead this early on is not expected, I think. Normally, Victor's supposed to win this matchup. Later on, it gets even better for Victor, but yeah, so far, he has been struggling.
Ooh, gate number 2, and D1's just dashed forward, got hit up by that root, has to flash, and I think Meliodas is happy just saying, "Alright, you flashed, I didn't invest anything."
Yeah, interesting. He could have extended he could have extended his flash there. Yep. Didn't want to invest this. Zorn, meanwhile, has been power farming, taking away the Crux from Meliodas, so he's actually ahead in levels. But he needs to stick the landing on a gank, because Meliodas has already secured first blood.
Yeah, exactly. Looking down at the bot lane, reasonably uneventful at the moment. I think the Morgana... Oh, never mind then. We'll look up top, and Mias gets knocked up again. Pushed
far too
far up.
Where was your flash, Mias?
Well, I mean, I don't think flash would have helped.
I mean, you have to flash the knock-up.
Well, not if you think you're going to die anyway.
You think so?
Right?
I'm not sure. If the Javan doesn't have his knock-up available, then he doesn't really do anything there, right? He doesn't have any other follow-up CC. I mean, he has a slow, okay, but...
It may well have just been that he didn't react in time. I think...
Yeah, possible.
I think the big mistake there was Mias was shoving too hard.
Once again.
I don't know where Meliodas is. Meliodas has had a strong start. Why are you shoving like that without vision?
And he's not even holding up in CS. Normally, if you see our top laner repeatedly dying for overextending, he is at least winning his lane in terms of CS. But this one has already fallen behind 10 CS as well. So everything going horribly wrong for EVOS' top side. Mias, the rookie, coming over from one of the promotion teams. Once again, looking a bit nervous in the first game. It was kind of the same in the first series against FTV. He actually didn't look great in the first game. Then he was much better in game 2 and 3. This is another caliber of opponent, and they really don't want to fall behind in the early game. It has already happened, but they have picked 3 strong lanes, and this is not
Sword
looking
getting
too well.
engaged on here, gets knocked up. There's going to be damage traded, and Deer 1's just a little bit ahead of Null, so the trade won't continue.
Yeah.
But look at that damage early from Meliodas.
And he's
so
one level
far
down.
ahead.
Yeah, he's one level down. Doesn't even have anything completed there. So even though he got a kill and an assist, he's actually in terms of stats not ahead of Thorn and still won this fight heavily. Thorn might have been able to turn this around because he's gone for the Conqueror, so he prefers the longer fights compared to the not Aftershock, Electrocute Meliodas.
I think the big difference maker was the Electrocute and also the challenging Smite.
Yeah.
Red Smite there, very valuable because obviously Sword doesn't have access to that with just he only had the triple long sword at the time. He's now got that Tiamat. Interesting decision to go the early Tiamat rather than trying to get your Smite.
Not seen many Tiamats on Rek'Sai. This is a farm committed Rek'Sai. We have seen Rek'Sai absolutely murder game 2 just a few hours ago against FTV. Yijin with absolute carry performance there, but going full farm Rek'Sai is a very weird decision there from Son. Usually not a farming jungler.
Yeah, exactly. It's very bold, especially out of Sorn. I'm surprised Sorn doesn't want to make moves on the map. It may well just be that they've recognized that they've lost a lot of priority in this early game.
Oh,
so they just want to transition from the mid.
Yeah, at least they now have priority. They have priority over bot. To be honest, the whole game. So using their very strong 2v2 there to now snowball this advantage into an early Infernal Dragon, which kind of equalizes the gold lead. It's still 1k gold in favor of DBL, and in terms of stats, probably quite even with the early Infernal Drake, 10% amplification, but items coming in much earlier for DBL. And Mia's in all sorts of trouble. Yeah,
he's about to get dove as well. Even Nico coming in to join in. The Rage Cage is down. Cannon ult used.
Good flash.
Meliodas will get it second.
Yeah, I think the flash was still quite well done there from Mia's. Didn't get the damage to stick on Razor to get the counter kill, but yeah, he avoided a lot. In the end, not worth investing the flash because he went down without getting anything. So now he's in an even worse position because, he died 2 times with the flash available. Now he died investing his flash, and why would he stop dying now?
We need to see Sorn use that farm lead that he has. If you get a hard farm,
he really needs to convert something.
He needs to counter Meliodas. It's not really good enough otherwise. It's going to be too late.
I mean, Meliodas has impressed me this game once again. I think J4 might be his best champion. He showed a lot of J4 at MSI again, and this one has been a very good performance, carrying the early game against Rek'Sai, a very good Rek'Sai in the Zorn. Deer 1 is fine in lane, 10 CS behind compared to Null, but this is kind of expected in this matchup. He has not died, very safe early game, has had to invest his flash, but now back available, so maybe they can look to play around the jungle and mid 2v2 with Thorn coming in with quite a bit of power, I think. 60 CS, level 7.
The Rek'Sai should be able to make quite a few moves here. He does look like he's a little bit nervous of going.
Yeah, he's very hesitant there.
It's a full jungle item on Meliodas, which is not a lot of fun, and also they didn't know exactly where Nico was. So going forward, just to potentially steal a Raptor, not really worth it. I'd really like to see Sorn try and make a play in the bottom lane. That's where your lead is.
Yeah,
No Way's playing really well. Has a 14 CS lead. Well, it's just shrunk a little bit, but
Yeah, it's kind of
has the
problematic
lead.
for them. They can't really dive this bottom lane. It's so hard to dive this. It's Aftershock, Nautilus with ult available, Pico Flash heal available, as well as a shield from the ultimate repositioning. I think the dive in bot lane is too risky. I agree it would be great for them if they could play around the bot lane, but I think it's not possible right now, looking at the champions. So
Maybe, but
maybe they should try to force a plating or two in the bot lane, but then they lose the Rift Herald, which has already been started, so not the greatest
yeah, but
position for
have a look.
EVOS.
There are a lot of EVOS players around this. I'm really surprised they're not contesting.
Yeah, it's too slow. You have to go there,
You have
EVOS.
you have 4 in range. Like you've got to
Oh,
go.
it might be early 5v5
Sworn's
here.
close enough. Yep, Sworn is close enough, but there's Rift Herald secured. Are they going to go for the engage? Nope, it's just a disengage. DR1 has to move back. I think EVOS needed to be more decisive there. There
Oh,
was
for
a
sure.
period. Oh
Oh,
dear, come on!
no.
You've got to know your range. That was
Or hitbox. I think range was... Yeah, maybe range was the problem too, but I think hitbox as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
one of
look
the
look
two.
at the CS as well.
This is good.
Oh, this game is actually not close at all. DBL is dominating this matchup.
Oh,
No way
absolutely.
is...
And no way
Oh,
is
good
just
stun.
absolutely screwed. Deer one's in the backline, but he doesn't have his ult now. He has to flash away. He's taking so much
Oh, and all
damage.
is here.
Biob gets blowed up. Oh, good God. This is it. EVOS has just
This is
lost the game.
slaughter.
What are they doing?
EVOS is not reacting at all. Their very strong early composition has not worked out. As you said before, the team fights are probably in favor of DBL if it gets to the later stages of the game. They've kind of picked an outdated team composition, but if you perform like this in the early game, who cares really? You can pick whatever you want. If you play like this, yeah, no team composition from EVOS would have been able to save them from their fate. Especially with Mia's underperforming in the carry v carry top lane matchup.
Exactly. Top lane, I should say. It just was so disastrous. And
Yeah.
also, what are you doing recalling just in the bush here? There's
No
just been
way.
a fight over the Rift Herald. You know that the entirety of the Dashing Buffaloes
And
are
Tier 1
sitting
doesn't have
there.
any mana left. Like he comes in there and can't do anything. Actually gets a bit
Really
of
well
mana
done by
back.
Null to get the double super soak.
Yeah.
Biob ends up. No, he actually goes down to Raizo from the cannon. Oh, good God.
Yeah, it's 7-1. And
Yep,
now
they
they'll
might get
even
this.
contest the
They're
second
not even
dragon.
going to get this. Yep.
Oh. Nice leash, thanks.
Yeah, TY for leash.
Man,
This is not looking good for EVOS. They're really not performing.
Yeah, and DBL once again shows that they are possibly the best early game team in the VCS. I think they always looked like the best early game team in spring, and maybe not the strongest mid and late game team. In the finals, when they played against EVOS there, they actually lost the first game because they didn't get ahead enough in the early game. And it looked like it would be a very close series, and then EVOS fell apart. DBL, or that time still Fongwu Buffalo, absolutely dominated every early game from then on out. So they certainly know how to play the early game. I think even at MSI they had very good early game leads against most teams, especially G2, obviously.
Yep. Obviously, yeah. I mean, the performance at MSI was really impressive. But it always brings up the question of how they're going to transition it back at home. And it looks like they're doing it really, really well.
Yeah, they came to play today. I think they trolled a bit against QTV, but they came to play today, certainly.
Absolutely. We looked at their comp and said, "Oh, this isn't really the read we thought Dashing Buffalo had on the meta." You know, we were maybe a little bit disappointed, but does it matter?
It
Like
really
we were
doesn't.
saying it before, it absolutely does not matter. They've gone to comfort, and there's always the eternal debate: is it better to play strong meta or comfort?
Yeah, it's a hard skill check for EVOS because they actually out-drafted, in my opinion, still, and they picked 3 winning lanes and lost everything but bot lane. So, not looking like they belong in the same, yeah, maybe the same league, but not the same contestation for Worlds or anything like that. For DBL, still seems to be one of the strongest teams.
Absolutely. I mean, we have seen DBL have this kind of lead, but still struggle to close it out.
Absolutely.
But I don't think they don't look like they did when that happened. So it would take quite the
Yeah,
performance.
and it's better
from
spread
him.
out throughout the map this time. Last time they had this big of a lead, it was all on Rezo, and the rookie didn't really know how to transition his lead too well. I think QTV also made very good moves to get picks on the other side of the map, especially Genza stood out that game. Very good performance so far, the mid laner from QTV. But this time it's spread out throughout the map. Everyone has a little bit of an advantage compared to its counterpart. Even the big Koro now ahead. He struggled in the
Yep.
lane, but now he has secured a kill for himself.
Yep, I hate his build, but
Yeah, I know you hate his build. I just checked in with him. PTA into Stormrazor, the anti-synergy build.
yeah, it is the I'm going to build a Storm Razor that buffs nothing except itself. Lovely, lovely. But Big Koro is being engaged on here. The Force Duet hits. This should be a kill here for DR1. It is.
Yeah.
Meliodas as well.
Easily
A
done.
little bit caught out. They've got the numbers here. Sorn goes into the ult. You'll get
Wow,
it. That's
very
a
good
$700
dodge.
shutdown. Lovely. Is this the turnaround? Pallet's being caught as well. The binding won't hit, and they'll back off. But that's two very valuable kills.
Yeah, and look at Sorn's mechanics. He still has it. Very good timing on the ultimate. Absolutely dodges everything that was threatening him. I think Nautilus ult as well as knock up from Meliodas was avoided there for Sorn. And they get one big shutdown and one free kill on Big Koro, who gets punished for his bad item choices, I think we could say. No, the items didn't have anything to do with it. It was just positioning.
Absolutely
but
nothing. I mean, he could have got first out Guardian Angel and he would have survived.
Maybe, yeah.
That was very played.
Yeah, but what is he doing there? 2 levels down, no coverage. I really don't understand Big Koro's movement here.
This was also very well played by
Sorn. Holy.
dodging the knockout with
That
his
was so
ult
well
and,
done.
yeah, just coming out of the ground like the
He dodged
angry
everything
voice.
there.
Yeah, absolutely did. So we now have a bit of a closer game. It's still despite that hiccup, it is still a very dominating lead for the Dashing Buffalo.
Yeah, and EVOS really needs to be careful. If they get a bit hyphy now after this play, they could immediately fall to everyone. If they build on this and slowly, incrementally close out the gold gap, I think they still have a chance to win this game. Their team comp is no slouch.
Yeah, exactly. DR1 now is actually in a pretty good position.
Yep.
1-0-2.
Absolutely.
And
he wins both.
Really is no joke.
Yeah, and he wins both side lane matchups. Razor is still far ahead, so maybe right now he's still struggling. He will still struggle against Razor, but look at his HP total. I think if DR1 ever lands a good stun, Razor just gets burst down there.
Yeah.
And Null has no chance in the 1v1. Nico really can't deal with Aurelia. She's strong in teamfights right now because the Super Soaker build has been completed, but yeah, she can't 1v1 the Aurelia ever into this game.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting where the next point of contact is. There is that Ocean Drake up. Both teams would be happy to take that, but I think if you're EVOS, you just want to play this slow, let DR1 get this contest tower, and just try and enable DR1 here.
And I think I want to focus in on Mia's performance throughout the rest of the game, because he had a very rough early game, but if he can salvage this with a better performance in later stages of the game, he is still on a very strong teamfight carry with the Victor, and approaching one item at least. And Victor, even on one item with the upgraded hex core there as well, still has a lot of zone control and a bit of damage as well. He just has to be careful to not get dove once again by Rezo and Meliodas. It's always a possibility for them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's the first game that Sorn has fallen behind in CS. Very interesting how that worked out. In the early game, he purely farmed, and then when everything was burning down on his team, he tried to look for ganks, tried to cover for his lanes, and now is actually fallen behind in CS as well as experience compared to Meliodas.
Yeah, I mean, it's Sorn's early game, especially opting to go into that Tiamat early, was kind of like that picture of the dog in the burning building.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is fine. It was not fine, but That said, the game is slowing down, which actually favors EVOS, because if they can maintain the gold deficit they're at, it's at 4K at 20 minutes, which is really bad. But if that's 4K at 25 minutes,
Yeah,
it's
and it was
considerably better.
already was at 6K, I think, a few minutes ago, so they have already closed the lead a little bit. Now, obviously, with the mid tower falling, this opens up a lot of the map for DBL, and they can now finally look to advance the vision line into the enemy, into the enemy territory there. Especially the top side jungle, I think, is in danger. And Zorn now really needs to look for everything. Look at this, Razor already controls the bot side jungle, so no camps there for Zorn to take. Everything goes over to the enemy top laner. So now the advantages with the free access to jungle from every side for DBL should just incrementally grow and grow and grow. Very good position for DBL still in the game.
Absolutely. Still, I like that EVOS isn't overreacting. They're not trying to take any panic 5v5s. It's not that dire a situation yet that you need to do that. They can still just play this out slowly.
But we now need a very good performance from Yulwei to kind of see why he was starting today over Divkit, after Divkit had two very good games against FTW on Thursday. Yulwei lost and Divkit won both games, won both lanes. This time Yulwei actually came away with a lead in the laning phase. But we need to see him perform in team fights. Now sitting on 2.5 items. Once he hits 3 items, I think he's really online there on the Zarya. And they want to wait for him to hit this item spike.
Exactly. And Zorn getting spotted out there can't threaten anything. It will be Baron Vision given here to the Dashing Buffalo. Need to see EVOS fight that back, because there is a pretty strong Baron take for DBL, even though they don't have a Mountain Drake.
Yeah.
Still need to be very careful if they don't have vision.
Kai'Sa always, I think she was known as the queen of taking Baron as ADC. Maybe only Kalista is better at that. But yeah, Kai'Sa is very good.
Maybe Vayne with Rage Blade.
Yeah, that's true. Vayne is also very fast. Yeah, but Kai'Sa is very good around Baron. And the next dragon, sadly for DBL, is still an Ocean Drake. They really don't need a second Ocean Drake there. And EVOS is praying for more Ocean Drakes, maybe a Cloud Drake in there as well, because they don't want to have anything to do with the Dragon Pit. And they really hope it's not a Mountain Drake, because Mountain Drake will be very dangerous for EVOS. As you said before, with the Mountain Drake, I think the Baron possibility is very, very high.
Yeah, I think the Baron possibility is very, very high regardless.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, but Mountain will really elevate this there.
Absolutely. It really raises DEFCON 1. I think we see one of the really strong things about this Super Circo Nico build is not only are the slows so strong, and we know all of that, the great thing about Twin Shadows, he can just press it and see where EVOS is coming in to try and get vision down.
So much control. You can just advance your vision line freely with this. No chance for the enemy team to ever pick you out if you just control the Twin Shadows there. And EVOS has made a very good effort to re-pink their own jungle, but now
Alex
DBL...
gets caught here. Aurelia ult's committed. Meliodas takes a lot of damage. It shouldn't matter, though. The blast cone's up if they really want to get out.
Yeah, flash from Palette at least, yeah.
Flash. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Getting Palette's flash, it's probably a good trade in the short term, but they really would have loved an actual pick there.
And Mias is struggling so much in the side lane matchup.
He's just on wave clear duty. He can't do anything else.
But he's even losing more and more CS to the cannon comparatively. Normally you would expect him to go even from now on out, just clearing the waves on the Victor. Victor known to be a very good wave clear champ, but he actually is losing more and more creeps, now sitting at a 70, almost 80 creep disadvantage to Razor.
I think part of that is that Razor can just constantly just walk over, take the wolf camp, take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here we have the sword taking so much damage, has to use his ult just to not die, but he dies anyway. Big Koro picking that one up. No way does his best to deal damage, but his support's dead. That's the double. Meliodas goes in. The triple kill for the Kai'Sa. Ryzo in the front line. When Meliodas does take a lot of damage from the tower, but it doesn't matter. He's got
this is a very deep dive.
Ooh. Just can't kill him. Oh, but the flash forward from Ryzo, he wants it, and he's going to get it. And
DBL
this is the
wanted
game
blood. They,
completely broken over.
yeah, absolutely. And there was no reason to dive the earlier there. They could have transitioned cleanly into Baron, but they wanted blood. And fair enough. They are so far ahead. They can have a bit of fun. Maybe they should tone down the fun element of their gameplay a little bit to not throw too much, as they already showed a few times. They've not lost a game yet, but if they continue to play like this, I think there will be the inevitable game losses against weaker teams, just because of the overextensions. And now Sorn is actually very good play from Null. Sorn was not in time anyway, so in the end, clean Baron from DBL, now 10k gold ahead. And we look at this once again. Palette gets spotted out. Sorn very much overextended here. DR1 can't follow up with everything. Null lands his first E. Now flash ult. Look at Null in this team fight, landing absolutely everything. Very good angle from Null as well. They are dodging all the feathers, because the angle on the feathers was not perfect. Hitting Snowway there with another E. He goes down, so Null with an absolutely perfect team fight.
What was Snowway's flash?
Yeah, I think no
Like
way.
he flashed on the spot. I mean, I don't think it mattered. The fight was over at that point.
Yeah, he had to flash the E there. He can't get caught. He has flash or ult to avoid the Nico E, and he gets caught anyway. Then just ults in place and stopwatches there as well. So absolutely nothing done by no way. He just goes down. Very good Nico performance. I think maybe so far one of the best teamfight Nikos. I think Mia's also had a very good Nico game on Thursday for EVOS. This time it's in the hands of Null, and Null once again shows why he's one of the premier mid laners in this region.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're seeing a really good team performance out of all of the Dashing Buffalo.
Very dominant game.
So far. Null, Null, he has had a good performance. He's been a little bit quiet. Obviously, he hasn't got any kills. Just those 6 assists. Just needs one more, and he can be James Bond.
It's still a 350 gold bounty. That's very impressive.
Yeah. When you don't die.
True. But he has to earn more gold than the enemies on average. So even though he has not gotten any kill credit, he has played a very good game, dominating his lane, giving Meliodas a lot of time and leeway in the early jungle matchup to go for invades and go for the 3 buff. That was enabled by Null.
That's all he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's all he really had to do. He hasn't had, a blowout game or anything like that, but he certainly hasn't need to. He just needed to be a solid performance, and he certainly was.
Yeah, he really is the backbone for DBL, I think. They have very flashy players, and then Null in the mid lane, who's winning every matchup up in CS, even against the world's best. And he's just a very stable mid laner for them. Ooh, Raizo gets caught.
He's not going to go down here. He just pops his off. Never mind. Apparently, he is going to go down without pressing on you.
Yeah, a bit of rookie mistakes there. No reason to do that.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
You can say that twice. Yeah, it's really not what you want to see out of the rookie there. But it's a bit hopeless for EVOS still. They don't even have their IE finished on Yulwei, and looking at Yulwei's performance, it will probably not matter that much anyway. He has not found many good teamfight approaches here on the Zarya. Has to be very careful of a lot of threats on the enemy team.
DR1 could probably go in here.
Yeah, he absolutely could.
He left it too late. He left it way too late.
Yeah.
And he's just going to die without getting anything.
Very good bait there from Null. Oh, Sorn actually hits the Q. Oh, Null with a stopwatch.
But they will get the kill there. The dreams of 007 are unfortunately dead. It will be 1-7 at the very best. Pallet should go down here as well. There's actually a lot of kills here coming in for EVOS.
Yeah, DBL once again going on the throwing race.
Yep, but they're going to trade it possibly for an in here. Does Big Coro have time?
It doesn't look... Oh, he actually
he might get it. He can die for it if he wants, but he's not going to do it.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything of the inting ways of his teams. He wants to...
I don't know about that one there from the Buffalo.
It's not great. I like this bait by Null here. He knew that DR1 wanted to go in. DR1 too late on the all-in there, and Sorn with a very good Q ult on Null. Null had to stopwatch this, so the stopwatch not available anymore. Sorn very happy in the backline, stacking his Conqueror. Oh, Razor once again way too overextended here. Sorn goes down.
He should be able to Lightning Mouse out here. Nope.
What's actually going on?
I'm not sure. Raizo is just making sure. I think Raizo wants to just play more League.
Look at the damage from Ryzer. He almost 1v3 killed the enemy top laner there. Mia's still on not a whole lot of items there. 2 finished for him at least.
I feel like that's just like pretty purely a bad play there by Raizo. Even if he
Absolutely.
does get the trade kill, who cares?
Yeah.
Biob has to flash it out. Like if you get that trade kill there as Raizo, like who cares? You killed a 1-4 Victor.
Yeah,
You were a 3-1 cannon. You had all the control. That seems very silly.
although I'm still not a believer in the EVOS victory. Oh, we get to see how Sorn died there.
Oh, wow. Just thought he was
Crazy
safe.
recall. And then Bikor overextends as well. A flash from Yulwei. Oh, nicely done from Yulwei at least.
It was a 1-for-1. And I think the thing is, 1-for-1s favour EVOS.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the shutdown going over to the enemy ADC. Now he is sitting on the shutdown there and has finished 4 items. Look at this. Out of nowhere, no way, with a lot of items on the Xayah. I really don't like the GA here. I don't think GA is doing anything for you. Go for 100% crit. Try to dominate the teamfights. Don't go for safety. You can't go for safety if you're behind. I really don't like GA on ADCs.
Biob hits the binding here onto Pallet, has teams close, but so does the Nautilus. The ult goes out onto Sorn. Interesting decision there onto him. Needs to get the ult off or something to do something in this fight. He doesn't. Raizo takes a lot of damage, but it doesn't matter. The disengage will happen. That's the 1-for-1. The jungler is dead for EVOS.
Yeah, the Baron is up. They have a lot of vision in the enemy topside jungle, so there is no good contest option for EVOS now. They have to be very careful if they actually want to do anything about this Baron. Doesn't look like they want to. So another Baron going over to DBL cleanly. They now have the second Baron. Their mid game is still looking quite off. I'm not sure if I want to give them the leeway that it's actually just them trolling, or if the mid game communication is just not good. I'm after seeing the QTV series, I think overall the mid game communication might just be a bit lacking, especially between Razor and the team.
Trolling or not, there's a difference between looking good when you troll because you make plays that are silly but you make them work, and looking quite bad when you troll. A team like G2 trolls in the mid game. Ryzer.
Oh no! You hate to see it.
Yeah. Oh, you hate to see that.
Man, unfortunate for Razor there.
Yeah, and also
the funniest thing about that is if he went in with the E. Oh, Meliodas gets caught. Oh wow, the damage from wow, he just got blasted, and another Baron wasted.
Yeah, another Baron wasted, but also there was a decision to discuss here was to take that dragon from EVOS.
Insanely risky move there from Yulwei. Oh, that's
now Elder.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I'm not sure if you want that.
Yeah, that's actually a very bad play then for Yulwei. It was way too risky to go for the solo dragon, and now he's reset the timer for Elder. To be fair to him, Dashing Buffalo would have probably taken the dragon anyway in the next few minutes, but it's still a bit earlier than it should have been. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes earlier. So now EVOS really needs to get even into the game until the Elder spawns, or there are 2 objectives that DBL can freely take. And even if they feed away more kills to the enemy team, as long as they get all the objectives, they are still looking like the stronger team.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a considerable gold lead here for the Dashing Buffalo, but with both inhibitors respawned, there's actually, we can go into a bit of a state of equilibrium, and I don't think it's out of the realms of possibilities to see EVOS win a fight. And should they win a fight, there's so much standing gold on the map. There's so many towers for them to take. This is a game that could actually go either way. Yes, the Dashing Buffalo probably win like 80% of the time.
Yeah, they're still in a big advantage, but it has shrunk a lot.
I think 6 minutes ago they were 95% to win.
Have to agree with you. We still need to see very good performances out of the EVOS players, but they at least now have the tools to actually succeed. Especially look at Mia's build now. He has closed the gold gap and the CS gap as well. Now 3 items on him. Very strong late game victor as well. Look at the shield. He can spam this shield a lot and actually.
They can't hold him, so.
Yeah, it's still Baron for the enemy team.
Yeah.
And they have to respect Razor as well. Razor with Flash available, they don't have any sort of deterrence on him. No exhaust board. I really like to see exhaust whenever there's a cannon in the game. I think exhaust almost disables the teamfight capability of the cannon. No exhaust this game, so this cannon is very scary. Sitting on around 400 AP, I would guess, with one infernal drake. Should be at around 400 there. So penetration for him. Really scary cannon on Razor's side.
Yeah, exactly. This is still a very scary 5v5 comp out of the Buffalo. So we are going to have to see a mistake from the Buffalo, really, or just a very, very solid catch. But it's so difficult. They have such good counter engage in the Nautilus and the Jarvan, and such good normal engage from Raizo.
Yeah, and luckily for Razor, he can't really do the mid-game mistakes anymore. He committed to the side laning all the time and got caught. But now there's no side lane anymore to go to, so now he's grouped up with his team all the time, which kind of, takes away EVOS's comeback possibility.
Like Sean wants a way in, but he will tunnel back out. I think if this last EM tower goes, that's really the writing on the wall.
Yeah, and they can't.
Well, the second paragraph of the writing on the wall, because I think the initial beginning of the end already started.
Absolutely, and they struggle a lot clearing out the waves. So look at all the members. All the time, 2 members have to go down to defend there. DR1 not the greatest at pushing down the super minions. Razor, I like this one. He pushes down the minions so that his super minions get even faster access to the base. So now EVOS needs to try to look for something here, I think. Oh, Black Shield down.
They do need to be careful, because if Raizo is spotted pushing minions in, it is an opportunity for a fast 5v4 for EVOS. Yeah. But that's the balancing act you play.
But they don't have a lot of time to kill someone, especially Big Koro sitting on his GA. He can delay the fight long enough for Razor to actually flash ult in. So it's a very, very slim timing window for EVOS. They pretty much have to kill Null here, and he has the Zhonya's for himself. It's hard to play, but to be fair to EVOS, they have mounted a good defense, have not lost the third turret. Oh yeah. That's not great, especially because the inhibitors are still down for a few minutes.
I don't think
this is just free. This is just.
They might trade it for Baron.
They're pinked out.
I don't think they have time.
Yeah, they're a bit late on the ring. Okay, DBL called off the recalls there.
Ooh. Yeah, I think calling off the recall had to happen.
Yeah,
or we could have
absolutely. Baron. Baron spawned now, so the
teleport from Raizo. I assume it's Raizo.
No, and this is very risky.
It's Raizo as well.
Oh wow, 2 players come in. The anti-Piglet classic there.
Yeah. Looks like they want the Baron. They don't only need 2 to take it. They just need someone to tank for Big Koro.
Yeah, it's nothing that EVOS can do. And we talked about the 2 objectives going over to DBL. That really being the final nail in the coffin. And I think we are looking at the game ending in the next 2 minutes probably. Both big buffs active for DBL now. They shouldn't have the hardest of times to push down the last inhibitor. 2 inhibitors still down, and EVOS has not pushed out the mid and bot wave far enough for them to buy time to defend the top lane. And we see DR1 now going down there, and look at how long it takes him to clear 1 wave. That's not the greatest sign for him.
No, it's really not. This is really last chance saloon here for EVOS. Down 9k, that's pretty irrelevant.
Yeah, it has.
The gold lead doesn't matter. It's the objective lead.
When did Null die?
Good question. Judging by how long his death timer has left, about 40 seconds ago. But we completely...
What happened there? I'm not sure. It was not shown on screen. If I'm not completely blind, I don't think I saw Null going down.
I've been known to miss things, but I don't think I'd miss Nico being killed on screen. But he did die, which, I mean, that explains why the Dashing Buffalo
are
have
not doing
slowed
anything.
down.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to take a 4v5.
And only
You could-
25 seconds remaining on the Dragon's buff, and we've already seen them being able to defend the first Baron there. Sadly for them, inhibitors respawn when the Dragon buff is still available, so both inhibitors immediately go back down.
Oof,
That's really not
gets
great for
shot.
EVOS.
No, but he will have Homestart to get back into this. They need to fight under the inhib tower, I think.
Yeah. Now the Dragon
Oh,
buff has...
fine.
Yeah, the Dragon buff is off, so please look for engage now. You can't lose the third inhib.
Yep, there it is. Tier 1 goes in. He's onto Meliodas, does a lot of damage, but it's not quite enough yet. And he
Still
manages
alive.
the second there, but he's going to close out, gets Meliodas' GA, goes into a GA of his own. They
Ooh.
killed Raizo in the backline. This has to be a disengage from
This is a
DBL.
wrong fight.
This time,
Wow,
it's
and
only
EVOS
for-
actually wins the fight, and this now looks like a game that could come down to a lot of fighting in the base for EVOS. Very good move there from DR1. He doesn't even lose his GA. Oh no, he lost his GA, I'm sorry. It looked like the GA was still active there. But a very bad fight from Razor. Let's look at his fighting there once again. I think he didn't get anything done, and he even invested his flash there, went down, used his Zhonya's, used his flash. So now next fight, the cannon is not really relevant.
No way did it even ult.
Yeah, Yulwei was under no threat at all. Very good engage timing from DR1.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that the Dashing Buffalo do have in their back pocket is EVOS need to do that 6 more times.
I think it's late
To
enough
really
that it's only 3 more times, I think. But yeah, it's still 3 more times that they need to do this. And the most important thing is, while they do this, they need to not lose the inhibitors. Because if they only win the fights after losing inhibitors, it really doesn't do that much to them. They will
I
not...
want to see where Raizo goes.
Yeah, look at Raizo. Oh,
He's
Null
straight
gets...
for the back line, but he's already so low.
Yeah, it's only on Mias. Null and Raizo completely only went on Mias, and Mias deterred the engage first with his very good gravity field there, and then just pressing Zhonya's. So very big tunneling onto the enemy top laner, who's just standing there, level 18, with his Zhonya's, utility items ready to fight the enemy engage.
Yeah, I mean this is not a good sign for Dashing Buffalo.
Look at the Victor. This is almost a 6-item Victor. 6-item Victor is scary. 6-item Victor can one-shot Kai'Sa. No problem at all. She has not built any MR, so if she ever steps too far, and he builds his Rabadons there, that's 700, 750 AP. With a good EQ ult, I think Kai'Sa just straight up dies.
Yeah, the question is, can he get close enough to EQ her?
That's a very good question, but it's still a lot of backline damage as well. So
absolutely. The thing is that this looks very bad. I still think Dashing Buffalo win this.
Absolutely.
But this looks. If you go to Rift Rivals and you do this against an EU team or a Chinese team or anyone, you actually lose this. You don't get a lead this big. We want to see better from the Dashing Buffalo, I think. I'm not sure what the
judging from this game, even though they have shown insanely good, I think the best early game out of all teams so far, I think Flash has looked better. And if I remember correctly, Flash will actually play Dashing Buffaloes next week. Oh no, this is not good for Mias.
Mias is dead. This is game, I think.
Oh, do we get another very unfortunate ending to the game that's taken 40 minutes?
I don't think they want to risk it. They want to get this Elder.
Yeah, it's second Elder. That's still probably the game.
Yeah, that is probably game. Second Elder is just such a ridiculous buff.
That's so unfortunate.
I think we might just about have time for Mias to respawn, especially if Dashing Buffalo want to go for a reset, though it doesn't look like they do.
Razor is actually in a lot of danger there. Oh, no engage from EVOS. Yeah, I think they had no clean CC on him, but a little bit of time to engage on top of Razor. He doesn't have his flash available, as we alluded to earlier.
This will definitely be the inhib going down. They've got to buy another 14 seconds to have Mias back and have a 5v5.
So now we have a 3 inhibitor game. I think the competitive win rate against 3 inhibitors down is something like 3% or something. So it's really not great anymore for EVOS. Oh man,
Yeah, this is.
Mias, he had such a good mid and late game, and then this one mistake will probably cost the EVOS all the chances of getting back into the game, because 3 inhibs down, both big buffs on top of DBL.
Yeah, they've got one fight. One inhib does
Yeah,
respawn,
one.
so
But
it's only going to be one set
how
of
are
buffs.
they supposed to defend this inhibitor? As we see a teleport for absolutely no reason there.
I mean, I don't think you can defend the inhibitors. You have to
No.
fight under the Nexus towers. This is 4 Barons. Absolutely ridiculous.
And still no last
The
item
Buffalo need
completed.
to close this out. Oh, in goes Meliodas. Does use the Rage Cage, but the flash comes out from Mias.
Look,
Again, he's being focused. He's being caught out here. Good feathers there to buy a little bit of time. It's not going to matter. That mid inhib does go down. They get a rotate bot.
and
I'm
2
not
super
sure.
minions from bot and top side will come in shortly, so
Ooh,
this
a lot
will
of damage. Oh, no, it was
the
I got
clone. The clone
so
once
grenade.
again.
Ugh, bloody Nico. This looks like it will just be the final bit of pressure. They'll probably wait for super minions to get here just to absolutely guarantee it. They do have 2 up there.
Oh, slower No Way,
EVOS,
but
you've got
no
one
follow up.
chance.
Actually, interesting adaptation and build for No Way. He goes for full DPS, goes for the most damage he can find with the Runan's Hurricane there on the Zaya. I've not seen the Runan's Zaya in a long time. Look at the turret,
Yeah.
just going down to the pressure of the super minions and Baron minions.
Yep. Uh,
I think this
and
game will probably
EVOS
just end
need
with
to find an engage.
yeah.
They need to find an engage before the super
Oh,
minions
look
get
at Tier
here.
1. Oh, very good
Tier
flash
1
on
goes
all.
in, he's looking for it, he's taking so much damage that he's putting all of his damage into pallet. It's not good enough.
Oh,
No way is just going to get absolutely blown up. They're
it's
all
the
going into GA.
slaughterhouse.
Can they turn anything? Pallet does go down, but it doesn't matter. It will be the final fight. The ace and Dashing Buffaloes finally wins.
Yeah, finally we see a little bit of decisiveness there out of Dashing Buffaloes, going for the fight. Good approach to the end of the game. Mias with a crucial mistake once again. I think overall a very weak game of the new top laner for EVOS. Couldn't hold up to Razor there in the early game. Good plan also coming out of Dashing Buffaloes in the early game to repeatedly gank Victor. You really can't do anything against the ganks. The mid and late game was very disappointing from Dashing Buffaloes. They really have to get better at transitioning their early game leads into wins, and not at 40 minutes, but at 25 minutes. It looked like it was completely over at 15 minutes, 6k gold lead. And then it took until 45 minutes until the Nexus died. In the end, it's still a win in the books, so I guess you can't really fault them. But this has to be improved
I
upon.
definitely think I think you absolutely can fault them.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree on that one. I think you can look at that the way they wanted to close that game out, because closing a game is such an important skill.
Absolutely.
It's
It took them
ridiculously
3 or 4 Barons and 2 Elder Dragons to close out the game.
4 Barons and 2 Elder Dragons
that's
to close a
ridiculous.
game. They could have closed at 35 minutes. It was nearly a 50-minute game. Like, that's pretty bad from the Buffalo, but regardless, I do still think they're the better team here today.
Yeah, I think so too.
But EVOS, if we see a better early game, maybe they can do something and capitalize on the Dashing Buffalo's weak mid game.
I have to say, EVOS did disappoint me even more. I think they played more like the first game against FTV. They did not come up with a good game plan. No good early ganks from Sorn. Very. I'm at a loss for words for his early pathing as well as his itemization. I have no idea what that itemization was supposed to do for him. Full farm Rek'Sai coming out. If you want to go full farm, just lock in, I don't know, Yi maybe?
Yeah. I mean, if we've gotten to 50 minutes, if we'd gotten to 50 minutes with Sorn on Yi.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
That's very true. So please go for a better early game plan, EVOS. Mias needs to be on a more stable pick. Put him on something that is not dying in the top lane. The mage once again did not pan out for them, so maybe go back to something like a Renekton. They actually have played only mages so far: Ken, Akali, Nico. Not too great. I think, yeah, now with the Victor, I think they need to adapt their top lane champion pool. The bot lane performed fine, the mid lane was okay as well, so It's really on Mias to step up here to pose a challenge to the former number 1 team. It's still sitting on 3 wins this season, so DBL is still looking like one of the strongest teams in the region.
Absolutely.
And who's your MVP in this game? It's so hard to call.
I think Meliodas. He had a really good early game.
Yeah, I think it's between Meliodas and Null. I think Null had very good team fighting.
Yeah, I think either of them could get it. See, the problem is there's only 2 of us, so we don't have a tiebreaker.
That's very true.
If we disagree.
Yeah, but
I think Meliodas got them off to such a good start.
yeah, it's okay.
Null
I'll give it over to Meliodas as well. I'm not too unhappy with giving it to Meliodas. I think it's definitely a nod to Null as well. He has had another very good laning phase, very good team fighting, and the one catch on Yulwei especially stood out for me. But Meliodas was very good job and performance. Even in the late game, I think his engages were good. Forcing the flash there in the last team before the last team fight started on Mias actually gave them a lot of time to re-engage on the Victor. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens in game 2. We do need to see some changes here for EVOS.
Yep. I like the draft. Please just adapt the top lane pick and then try again. Try to not fall behind 6k gold at 15 minutes, and I think you'll have a good chance to win against the very shaky mid game from DBL.
Yep. I think you have yeah, exactly. If you can come out of the early game with a reasonable lead, I think you actually have a pretty good chance against the Buffalo.
Yeah. As they looked so far, I think that's definitely true.
Yep.
So we'll see you in 4 minutes roughly for the second game and see if we finally get another third game in. We have only seen one series so far go to game 3. It was the very first series with EVOS. This time EVOS is participating in this series once again, so maybe we'll get to see another 3-game series with EVOS.
All right, everybody, we are back once again for the game 2 here of Dashing Buffaloes versus EVOS after a quite ridiculous game 1
A
here.
game.
Yeah, for nearly 50 minutes, 4 Barons all going to Buffalo, 2 Elder Dragons. Hopefully we see something a little bit more decisive out of either team.
I think that was more Barons than yesterday and today combined in all the other games, or? I'm not quite sure about this statement, but it was a lot of Barons. My. And Elder Dragons for sure. I don't think we have seen too many Elder Dragons. Maybe 1 or 2 go down all weekend, and now 2 Elder Dragons in one game. Dashing Buffaloes really need to step up, I think. They only have 1 more week until they have to face off. Oh, we actually align once again. Nice. Yeah, they have to face off against the best from China, from Korea, and even the best. I think they're in one team, kind of, with the LMS teams. So I'm not quite sure if they'll actually face the LMS teams. I think Vietnam and LMS will be one team fighting against China and Korea. But yeah, even against the Korean and Chinese teams, this will not suffice. Maybe against SKT, because SKT is struggling, and if Faker is benched once again, maybe this is enough to take them.
I don't know if you've seen the latest things, but they've got SKT for the LCK today has Kakoma in the booth with them doing their draft. So the whip is fully out for SKT.
And Divkit is in. Yeah, I think this was unexpected.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm not sure why he wasn't in game 1. I think No Way had a fine. I think No Way played fine.
Yeah.
But I just think it had a better performance in their last game.
Absolutely. I think No Way for once won the lane this time and looked better than in the first game against FTV. But I still think give Divkit the time to develop on this team. You have picked him up and he outperformed No Way. Just give him the starter spot. Yeah. Now he comes in game 2 and is looking at a very difficult position there, facing against Dashing Buffaloes. 1 game down already. All of his teammates probably, after such a close game in the end, a little bit tilted. Maybe not. I'm not quite sure how the players will think about the first game. Sometimes you think close games are actually more of a deal breaker. Sometimes the perfect, getting absolutely shit stomped in the first game is worse for the players, actually, morale-wise. What do you think?
I think the biggest thing for that game, for both teams, is that was a long game.
Yeah, that's very true.
50-minute game. It's kind of hard. It's much hard. If EVOS had just been absolutely stomped in 21 minutes, I think it's easier just to write that off and go, well, that's not going to happen again. Yeah. Whatever. But that was such a long game that they're going to be sitting there and going, well, what if we hadn't made this mistake? Well, what if we hadn't made this mistake, etc., and etc., and etc., which is really not good for your mental state.
Yeah, Dashing Buffalo cannot be happy with the first game at all. I hope we get to see them cleaning up a few of their mid-game blunders, especially Reizo, I think, gets caught out way too much. He has very good laning phases. All 3 games we've seen from him have been strong laning phases. Okay, one was absolutely free, but it was still a good capitalization from him. But his mid-game is not looking too hot. I hope he can improve on that. To be fair to him, he's a rookie coming into this number 1 team, so he's probably still needs a little bit of time to improve.
Exactly. Coming into this game, though, we do see the Yumi ban again from EVOS. Dashing Buffalo also taking out Sejuani. EVOS banning out Lux as well. They really don't want to play with or against the Enchanter supports by the looks of it.
Yeah,
they might try and bait a Karma pick, though, if it's not banned.
Don't quite understand banning Yumi and Lux, I have to say. I think it's good to ban one of the 2 and grab the other, but why are we banning out both of the Enchanter supports down there? Last time they went with the Morgana, so a 3rd one, but Morgana is not quite as lane dominant as those 2 are, so they have already played a Lux game before, EVOS has, so don't really understand why they would ban out the Lux. We'll have to see what they come up with this time.
Yeah, it's very strange there, and they banned out the Karma as well. I think they could have left that up and potentially first picked it.
Aatrox or Nico first pick, very probable now.
Or Irelia.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really think Irelia is first pick worthy anymore.
I think if Dashing Buffalo doesn't ban. Oh, we leave champion select.
Yeah, something
Must be an issue.
something happened there. I'm not sure. Maybe the karma ban was not what they wanted to lock in.
Perhaps, but
I would hope so.
if we assume that those bans are correct, because obviously we have no way of knowing, I think if Aatrox isn't banned for the Dashing Buffalo, you have to first pick it.
Yeah,
I
after
don't think
Razor's insane
I
performances against QTV, I really don't think you want to give him his comfort champion once again. He looked quite good on the cannon, as I said before, in lane, so picking Aatrox into a possible lane counter coming out of Razor is not too nice either as, for the struggling top laner for EVOS, but yeah, I think you have to take the Aatrox away there. Especially because your team fighting actually looked quite strong, so taking a very strong team fighting AD top laner could be a very good option for them.
Exactly. Well, in this little bit of downtime,
Dashing Buffalo's players don't look too amused. Look at them. All their faces are a little bit... they seem to be not enjoying themselves too much on stage right now. A little bit tired look on Palette's face there as well.
I mean, wouldn't you be exhausted after a 50-minute game where
Very
it
true.
was like you had to, they were trying to break through the Great Wall of China with their forehead. Like, they got through, but you're going to have a headache.
that was a very good analogy. I like that one.
I'm hit or miss, man. I'm really hit or miss. There's no middle ground with me.
Well, they have to be quite commendable heads there if they're able to do that. But it's probably not working too often. They have already taken down 2 sides of the Chinese wall, if you want to go with the analogy even further. So there's only so much power issues.
Ooh.
How's that happening?
Well, it might just be the venue might have an issue.
Yeah. Hopefully not for too long. I've witnessed some pauses in the VCS that took forever. I really hope that it will not be the case this time. Poor players playing a 50-minute game and now are sitting at their PC staring at the power issue.
Rough.
Yeah, that's really rough.
It's so, like, I understand why you say players can't talk during a pause. I understand that, but God, that must be so boring.
Yeah, but I think the rules actually got a bit more lenient towards the players. They are not allowed to play to talk about the game, but I think they are now allowed to talk at least, and the referees will hear everything they say and think about if that actually violated the rules or not. If you think back to the MSI group stage, there was one delay between G2 and IG on stage. It was more than 1 hour, the delay, and it was insanely hot on stage. Some G2 players really complained after that they just were sweating on stage, sitting there, not knowing how long this issue would take to resolve. And they ended up picking the Vayne top after that and getting absolutely curb stomped by the Shy.
I mean, the Shy does that to teams. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been on stage at an event similar to this, but those lights...
Yeah, the lights are not... lights as well as, I suppose, weather. I have no idea how much degrees there are in Vietnam, but approaching summer, I can imagine it's pretty hot there.
Yeah, the thing about Vietnam is it gets really humid.
Yeah.
So obviously they're near the tropics and that. So they're heading into summer where it's hot and humid. Vietnam, don't get me wrong, lovely country. Absolutely beautiful part of the world. I haven't been to Vietnam specifically, but I've been to a lot of Southeast Asia. But yeah, it gets a bit sticky.
Probably not the greatest feeling sitting on the stage. It looks like this stage is a bit... it's climated though, so because everyone is wearing a jacket or something. So
yeah, exactly. I think they must have fans or something.
Yeah.
It would seem pretty nuts in somewhere like Vietnam not to have decent aircon.
Yeah, and long sleeves as well. I don't think you go for long sleeves on stage if you're sweating there. So Palette even rocking the jacket there. So probably fine in terms of conditions. But power issue is
I'm
still
sure they're
going on.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we are just talking a little bit off topic. We don't have a huge amount to talk about. I mean, speaking of sitting on stage, I remember there was an event. This is really off topic. There was a Counter-Strike tournament a few years ago that went to 8 overtimes because Counter-Strike can't end in a draw, just
Yeah.
like League can't. But you play rounds, and it went to something like 8 overtimes, which is essentially 3 games
What?
in one game.
Oh man.
Because a normal game of Counter Strike ends after 30 rounds, right? Max.
Yeah,
If that's
I
16.
know. Yeah.
It's like 8 overtimes, so it ended up they played like 60, like 80 rounds or something absurd, and they were on stage the entire time. It was like 3 hours, and I
Sounds
was just looking at the
insane.
players but the thing is like at some point you'd think the players would just be like, bugger it, you win. But it was like I don't remember the exact situation of the tournament, but it was like a knockout round. The winner went through to the next stage of the tournament. The loser went home.
Oh my
It was just
god.
this ridiculous scenario. I was like, oh, good God. Can you imagine?
Do you remember
Just sit-
Season 2 World Championship? The event when the now Game 5 song actually went popular?
oh,
The game
yeah.
between Evil... No, it was not Evil Genius then. It was CLG versus, I think
Yeah.
it was WE, maybe still World Elite at that time. Wow, it was something else. I didn't actually watch it live, but yeah, there were some people staying there for 8 hours just because of the delays. And all the time, I think Silver Scrapes was playing. Everyone had a good time on
Yeah.
following Silver Scrapes up and down. It was
All
wow.
right. Season 2 Worlds. I remember that event so fondly. So I
Yeah,
watched it as
it was
live
my
as I
first
could.
big. Yeah, I think it was my first big international event I followed actually for League of Legends.
Yeah. I think it was one of the first big international events I followed for an esport that wasn't StarCraft. Because I was still in high school. I was only what 13, maybe 14 when in season 2 Worlds. Like I was a bit of a young kid, but I went to boarding school and I had a whole group of friends, and we all were really into League. We all loved it, and we had like instead of just having a TV in the boarding house because the TV screen would be too small, we had a projector so everyone
Oh,
could see.
nice. Yeah,
So we
that's
just had
great.
this big projector up, had the games going, and the thing was, we were all TSM fans at the time. This is
Obviously,
like
like
this is
everyone is.
old TSM. This is like the Bay Life TSM with like Reggie, Dyrus.
Yeah,
I still think that's one of
the
my favorite roles.
the team that got cheated on by Azubu Frost, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna bring up. When that came out,
Oh,
there was so much impotent fury from us 14
obviously.
year olds. We were ready to go over there. Oh,
Yeah, in the end, Frost didn't win, so they got their punishment there.
yeah. I still think it was pretty dodgy, but I mean,
Oh,
it's
it
the
was
event's
very
fun.
dodgy.
The fact that you could see the screen was ridiculous.
It
I
was.
do love hearing. I always love the way players do their like little sneaky cheats. I think in the Frost scenario that was pretty blatantly cheating,
Yeah.
but I know sometimes in other games like in Counter Strike again. I watch a lot of Counter Strike. One thing that constantly happens if you ever have a situation where the teams are facing each other, what players will sometimes do if one player is about to throw a flashbang, they'll tell their teammate to look at the other team, and if you see the light on one person's face go white,
Oh
you know that you
wow,
flashed them,
really?
so you
Well, that's
push.
really interesting. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It doesn't always work, and so obviously, just like with League, soundproofing's a big thing. You don't want to be able to hear the casters. But even when they're in booths, if it's a big event, you can you can feel the rumble of the crowd. So players will like aim at certain spots where there might be like a really common wall bang. So they'll aim at it and then they'll go, "Can I hear the crowd getting louder?"
Oh
Because if they're getting
wow.
louder, they're getting hyped. It's like, so I'm going to pull the trigger, and if I don't hear them, I won't give myself away.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean,
it makes a difference 1 in 1,000 times, but
I mean, at least if it's fair for both teams, it's probably okay. It's a little bit of extra information you will probably not have in the game, but I will actually make the whole pick and ban phase. So power issue
yeah,
seems
I
to be
imagine.
resolved.
I think it'll be same ban.
Yeah, looks like the same bands, Lux and Sejuani's, and there's really no reason to change the bands because there was not a single pick locked in yet. So why would you change up your draft just seeing the enemy's bands? So, very possible. Still looking at an Aatrox first pick. If it's not banned here, yeah, Karma was the last band we saw. So now,
This is where we were up to.
yeah,
This is the
yeah.
first band that we didn't see. And we were sort of thinking, do you take out the Aatrox or do you make them pick it and then counter it? Raizo could pull out Quinn. We know how well that goes.
Yeah. He can show if he's able to dominate the matchup with Quinn. I would love to see that. Absolutely stomp the Quinn when the Quinn counterpicks him, and then.
No way.
What? Did we just see a replay of the pick a ban? It's actually possible.
How did they get to the same point?
Yeah, maybe it's just a replay there.
But why would you bother?
They actually trolled us.
Yeah, we got baited.
We got baited big time. Not sure what's going on. If is it another power issue or is the power issue still consisting? Do the PCs just go out again? Maybe.
I mean, is it a PC issue? Like that's a pretty big issue if it's PC.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not. But oof.
Power issue doesn't sound too easily resolvable, right? If the whole area has power issues, the VCS can't really do anything about that. I really hope it's not something that will disturb the players too much.
I looked it up. Apparently, the weather today is pretty nice in Ho Chi Minh City, so I don't think it'll be anything like a storm, which sometimes knocks power out.
Yeah, you can clearly see that the screens are working. They're on on DivKit's face, so. Yeah. Seems to be something else. Maybe the server connection is off or anything like that.
Yeah, maybe maybe it's a peripheral issue. Someone's mouse or something isn't working. Yeah. They just threw that under power.
Which would be relatively easy to resolve, right?
Well, get another depends if they have another. But do they have the mouse of the same model on hand?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like, I mean, I know...
Yeah, pro players can be very, very picky there.
But also, that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's absolutely fair. If you play thousands of games on the very specific setup, you really don't want to lose that setup in such an important game. It's not great.
Precisely. Like, I don't really hold it against a player if they're like, no, I sort of need the exact same mouse.
Did you catch the best pause that happened at the LEC this weekend?
No, I haven't watched much of the LEC this weekend, other than the Fnatic game.
Upset sat at a very weird position, something like he sat on his feet. Somehow he sat on his feet,
right.
And then he paused the game. I think 5 or 6 minutes into the game, calling that his feet went asleep. So he had to kind of stretch to get his feet. He actually got a warning for that. It's not allowed to.
I don't blame him. Yeah, of course you're not allowed.
So great.
Who was it? Who was that clip that's going around? It's a great clip of the ref.
Oh yeah, that's Julie, the very famous ref.
Yeah, Julie. Yeah, she's great. She's really fun. Reacting to the terrible tower dive.
Yeah, it was Jankos on the Olaf there, flashing over the wall, and she's tilting her head. What's going on here? Really excited, and then he's just backing off, missed his axe, and he's face palming on camera. It's a great gif. Check it out, guys.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's great. Yeah, looking a bit at. The Rift Rivals next week. It doesn't really have to do too much with VCS, but we see the two best regions allegedly play against each other. NA versus EU. Yesterday, the NA teams that go to Rift Rivals didn't look too great.
TL is still. I think TL looks alright.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty clearly the best NA team. even if they've had their
Yeah,
hiccup.
they ditched a bit in the first few weeks, but it was kind of expected after MSI, I think. So now getting back to form. The game still didn't look too clean yesterday, I think, against Golden Guardians. I watched a bit of it yesterday while playing a few ARAMs. So
I think GGS is a good team though.
yeah,
Like
that's true.
for it, they're a good NA team. I think they're pretty solid. So I'm always glad when teams can bring it to the best team. I think Liquid is clearly the best team, but I'm happy to see them challenged. Disappointed that Optic got up. Pretty annoyed at that. TSM, what are you doing?
Oh, you're still an TSM fan
I'm a
after all
T.
this time?
I'm still a TSM fan because no other team has made the fan. That's the only reason.
Okay, okay.
I was a TSM fan initially because I loved the roster with like Dyrus, the odd one, and that. Fun fact: the odd one came to Australia
Oh.
a few years ago when I was like 15. Went and played laser tag with him. It was a great time.
Sounds fun.
He did a fan meet. I think he had an Australian girlfriend and he was coming to meet her family or something.
Okay.
So he just did it. But yeah, like, and then I kept supporting TSM because I love Dyrus. Like, Dyrus is my favorite player.
Dyrus
I
with his
cried
pillow.
His retirement speech.
Oh, that interview was the greatest interview Shock's ever done, I think. It
I
was so great.
bawled my eyes out sitting at home watching that. And it's just like, and then I sort of looked away from League for a little while, and in the last year or so, I've come back to the game because I still love it. It's still the best MOBA in the world by far. So I was like, oh, well, I want to support a team. Still got all the TSM merch, so I guess I'm a TSM fan.
Yeah, I think their roster's quite likable as well. I don't think they're actually that great of a team. They kind of fall into the same problems every now and then. Sven is an okay ADC. I think he's actually fallen off quite a bit from his EU days. His Civil game yesterday was not great. It was really not that great, I think. Yeah, overall,
Yeah, I agree.
G2 and Fnatic will probably stomp Rift Rivals. I'm not too sure about Origin. I think Origin is probably on one level with the lower tier NA teams. Will probably lose to TL and play competitive games against TSM and C9 is what I would expect. Fnatic looks really scary. Fnatic and G2 as well.
That G2 Fnatic game almost didn't show much because it was such a fiasco.
It's yeah, G2 kind of messed it up. Messed it up a lot. Their lane swap was not great, and Caps played the top lane like a mid laner, which is not great.
Not the ideal. These are some pretty lengthy power issues we've got here.
Yeah, very sad and very bad for the players. I think maybe it can help EVOS reset their mental. Think about the games. It can also disturb them. Oh, are we getting another replay or are we getting into the game? Let's see. I will not get baited once again.
I think this is a replay because the coach on screen is doing the exact same.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
He may well just always pace like that, but he looks identical. So I'm not trusting this.
He seems to not trust his mic at all. look at his.
And also,
he holds his mic very close to his mouth. Look at this. He's not trusting his mic.
Yeah, he wants to make sure he's heard. Fair enough.
Yeah, some coaches like to cover their mouths to not give away anything. I'm not sure.
Speaking of strats being leaked, did you see the ProView bug?
Oh yeah, I saw the Twitter discussion there with Veteran. Oh man, that's 16 seconds. What? 15? 14?
Well, I think this is real. I don't mean to alarm anyone, but I think we're actually in Champions League.
We had 9 seconds. 8. Does the ban come in or not? Oh, there it is. We're actually live.
Yes,
we have made it.
We don't have to fill.
And it's the Aatrox first pick. Very possible. We talked about it earlier. I think Aatrox is still the best option here. Especially now with the Nico. Nico ban actually... Actually, the Nico ban is kind of confusing on Dashing Buffalo's side, I think. They had the opportunity to go Nico earlier here in the second rotation. Now it looks like, ooh, more G2 flavor. Give us the pike. Give us the pike. Come on.
I'd love the pike. I love pike.
Yeah, watching pike is so great. Playing against pike is
So much
miserable, but watching pike is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love this to be locked in. I'd love Raizo on pike. No, okay, it looks like they might want Zaya first.
Zaya is still a very good pick here. Yeah, Zaya really is the normal choice in this rotation. The S tier picks, as we alluded to earlier on. So
yeah, that's very true. The question is, what do we think will be fired back with? I think Thorn will want to secure a jungler fairly early.
Maybe the Elise this time.
Elise is banned.
Yeah, Elise is banned once again. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think the Elise ban is actually doing quite a bit of damage to EVOS' draft.
I agree. We could see the Graves.
They could do Gragas Yasuo this rotation if they want to.
Also true.
I did not expect Varus at all. Where did he come from?
Varus is still seeing play.
Yeah, especially in NA, because he's an insanely strong ARAM champ. I'm sorry, NA,
exactly.
But yeah, NA teams like to go for a Vitality Varus now, and not Vitality. I'm sorry, Lethality Varus.
Braum as well picked up early.
Quite the big adaptation from EVOS. Not sure if I like it.
It's interesting.
So now giving away the free Rakan, because he's not countered by any of the champs on EVOS' side. Lava's duo picked up for Dashing Buffalo this time. Bikor and Palette lost lane last time, but this time with Zyra Khan might look at a very strong laning phase.
I don't necessarily just going back to the Varus Braum. Why pick it here? I don't necessarily dislike the pick, but Varus was never going to get contested, and Braum absolutely was.
I have to agree. I think they want to hide something here. They want to scout out a bit more from Dashing Buffalo. They'll get to see 2 more picks, a few more bans. Actually, the Renekton ban is very intriguing from Dashing Buffalo's side. They anticipated the mid lane Aatrox, it seems like. Or maybe the mid lane Renekton.
That's possible. I think Aatrox is almost exclusively going top in 9-12.
Might go jungle as well. I've seen many wacky picks from Thorn. He has played a Graves game already, so there might actually be an Aatrox jungle coming in. I would not give my a bet on it or invest money in this, but yeah, it might be a possibility. Go for 2 counter picks in solo laners and slot the Aatrox into jungle.
Yeah, and I think they must also. Kindred.
This draft is going wild. I'm not sure if the power has actually returned or if this is random stuff going on stage. What are those bans from Dashing Buffaloes?
Was the power issue that the Dashing Buffalo brain machine is on the fritz?
It's very possible. Kindred, Renekton, second phase bans when you've already an Aatrox secured for the enemy scene. It might just be the strangest draft I've ever seen in the in bans.
If you're looking at EVOS and you think maybe Thorn wants to play, the ranged carry jungler, he's already shown Graves. Isn't that more likely than Kindred?
He has played a lot of Kindred in spring as well. The whole of VCS loved to play the Kindred. But is she good on this patch? Oh, DR1 with one of his specialties. I like to see the rise. Yeah, especially into... Oh, we talked a little bit about rise into Akali. We still think it's a fine matchup, but it's actually a bit more risky on the Rise's side. So a bit more volatile, which makes it more fun to look at, for sure. So now...
Well, now we need a jungler. We need a jungler or a top. And Gragas.
Gragas anyway. So now Gragas Rise, that's a lot of gank setup, but it's against an Akali, so that's almost impossible to secure a kill there. Ooh, will we get the second Karthus of... Ooh, yes. Another Karthus here.
These team comps are a little bit bonkers.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. This is a spring season G2 draft out of Dashing Buffalo. This is what G2 played the first few weeks of spring in LEC. Two assassins in solo lanes, Karthus in jungle, and then Zyra Khan bot lane. It's actually,
Yeah, I mean, the Dashing Buffalo team comp looks good. A little bit, not what we expected, but I kind of like how it shaped out. My big question here for EVOS is, I don't think Gragas fits.
I don't like
It's
the
a little bit
Gragas
of
pick either.
I think there's a lot of anti synergy here with his ult. Like, why do you want to knock them apart? Look at
Yeah,
your team.
I
Looking to be
have to agree. I think also the Karthus on the other side worries me a lot for Meliodas. Meliodas has not been a very good pathing jungler in my opinion. He's very good at ganking and gank timing, but he has fallen behind in almost every jungle matchup in terms of experience and farm. And Karthus is the one jungler you want to be always farming. You want to have a really big XP advantage. You want to look for opportunities to get extra farm in the enemy jungle. So we have to see if Meliodas is actually able to play this kind of style with the Karthus. Very different from all the other junglers he likes to play.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I think we just have to see how it works out. Meliodas might put a little bit more focus into his pathing.
He has to
Since he
if he wants to succeed on jungle Karthus.
I'm hoping we don't see the really mid-game mistakes from the Dashing Buffalo because I think they get punished a lot more with this comp.
Yeah, and it's not as easy as
They
before
don't
to get
have
ahead as well for them. It's
exactly. They don't have a super strong early game ganker. Like they have a Cartha instead of a Java.
this is once
Java
again. Oh no. I think this is once again kind of a skill check draft for DBL. What I mean by that is that all the laners need to win for them to win this game. If both solo laners have kill pressure, this Karthus will facilitate them a lot. And that's what we saw out of G2 in the early season. Both solo laners were able to dominate 1v1. Karthus just sat in his jungle, pressed R at appropriate times, and they absolutely dominated everyone. So if Dashing Buffaloes wants to succeed with the Karthus, they need very strong solo lane performances. And to be fair, Razor and Null are very good laners. So it's possible. It's definitely possible, but it's a bit of a harder draft than they needed to go for, I think. Dashing Buffaloes is probably almost always favored if you go standard against standard draft in this matchup.
Absolutely. I'm hoping this isn't too long a pause. I hope those power issues haven't reared their ugly head again. Though if our guess was right and it actually was what was powering Dashing Buffalo's bands,
Yeah, it's too
maybe
late.
it is. This is very strange. Very, very, very strange.
Yeah, on the other side, I think much more standard draft. I'm intrigued as well by the Varus pick. I'd like to see Lethality Varus here once again. Strong siege set up by them. Their mid laner was Ryze, so Ryze is not the best sieging champion, but now with his rework, he's a very good team fighter, and you got a lot of zone control there. Varus ults, Braum ults, disengaged from Gragas, followed up by a lot of damage from Ryze, so their team fighting seems to be very strong to me. Maybe not the biggest of synergies between the Varus and the Ryze. They can't really group up and siege that well together.
Yeah. We back in? We are back in, thank God.
So we might get to see a game now. I don't want to commit to this statement because there's still the possibility that the power issues return. But let's hope for the best.
We were worried after the first series that we might have a short game day today.
Yeah.
Thankfully, a 50-minute game into power issues has ensured that I will not be going to bed on time.
I'm very sorry.
It's okay. I will suffer happily to cast some VCS. I think it must have been Sorn's PC or something because he was so late out of school.
Oh yeah, that's a good catch. So Sorn with the Predator Gragas once again. So far, I think almost every Gragas I have seen have landed first blood with Flash E, or E Flash, I should say. So let's see if Sorn can continue this trend.
Yeah,
the most probable lane is
it
probably mid lane. I actually don't like the lane allocations here for DBL. I think slotting the Irelia into mid lane gives EVOS a very big ganking window into mid lane, while I think Irelia in the top lane can get away from the gank more easily than the mid lane. Sounds a bit weird, because mid lane normally is easier to get away from, but with both sides open to the flank from Zorn, mid lane is very risky against the Gragas jungle, and Akali is much better at dodging ganks.
Oof, you can already see how oppressive this bot lane's going to be, though.
Once again, power.
Kid has
Yeah.
one arm.
Yeah, especially level 1 is insanely strong from the two birds. Level 1, level 6, and level 3 are the very strong points for Zyra Khan. Varus Braum more even on the level scaling. I think there's no real big power spike. They have strong level 6 all-in as well.
Thorn looking for a gank here. He's pinging.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no ward. He's going to get in undetected.
And Bikoro.
Hit the E-flash.
Oh, very nicely
That's the
done.
flash already with Pallet. Oh, well done there. Gets the stun down from Braum, and there's a lot of damage here. The Ignite's on. He's going to go down. Early kill for DivKid. That breaks that pressure.
And he used both summoners, Bikoro that is. And once again we see the Gragas landing an early E-flash into First Blood. I think Gragas is almost guaranteed, if he's played well, to get these early kills. We've heard a Brippo interview where he talked about the Gragas being the most broken champ in the game. Disgusting, he told the interviewer there.
Absolutely.
Very good start for EVOS. For once getting ahead, Meliodas is still farming away very happily. Oh, what? Oh.
What? That was a... DivKid didn't do anything. He didn't even get an assist.
Ooh, this has become a horrible early game from DBL.
But Meliodas thinking about coming in here. They've really pushed, but it's just a 2v2. I don't think that's a good idea.
And they use absolutely every summoner, say from the Ignite, which is not doing anything for them in the defensive. So
I want a replay of how...
Yeah, what did Palette do there?
How do you go down 1v1 to a Braum?
Yeah, without Varus ult. Yeah, let's look at this. Palette, you're trolling. Palette, you're actually holy.
Oh my god, he's inting.
Wow. I cannot believe what I just saw. Okay, I think the power issues are still persisting there with the brain machine of DBL. My god, what was that?
Palette, I think you might need to switch over to a different set of colours, mate, because that doesn't look good.
I mean, it wasn't even any participation for DivKid there, so even he rightly assessed that DivKid would back away, but he'd still
Palette,
die.
are you okay?
I'm a bit of a loss of words here. That's okay. That actually rivals Neven for the worst play of the week. And that's not something I expected to be saying in this game.
I didn't think we'd ever be saying something rivaled Neven aggroing Baron on 10 health. Would ever be rivaled.
Palette, you need to stop.
He's in trouble again. Gragas is nearby.
Yeah, we're in for a better second game, I hope, because this time EVOS has a lead, and Mias gets caught out. Reizo is there with the ultimate.
Has to flash, but gets the Infernal Chains down, doesn't matter.
Perfect execution, not holding up to its name, I think, this time. I actually love this ability name. And calling something you can absolutely miss a perfect execution is it's a great move, right?
It is pretty solid.
This is the full lane Akali with a fleet footwork actually coming in. A bit of an older touch there for DBL. Maybe it's still showing a little bit of outdated meta read, because I think most Akalis nowadays go Conqueror or Electrocute. This is a very safe choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Just I might be a little bit scared of going up against the Aatrox.
Which is kind of weird, because he opted into that matchup. They could have just taken the Aurelium Aatrox matchup, that it's much more common there.
Certainly, I guess they just really wanted to put Aurelia against Ryze. Maybe they thought that was the much bigger threat.
Yeah, I think maybe they wanted to avoid the Ryze Akali matchup.
Yeah, I suppose this early. I mean, but now this early game sort of collapse from Pallet has snowballed into a Mountain Drake at 7 minutes.
Yeah, very good leverage of the bot lane advantage there from EVOS. And once again, gank from Zorn. Flash is not available though, so no Flash E-Flash.
Yeah, that was a little bit aggressive. I don't think you were ever really finding anything. Maybe they were hoping on seeing the Predator appear.
Oh god, Meliodas.
Oh, Meliodas, you're in so much trouble.
This is not looking good for DBL.
The party keg comes out of the fog and just ends in.
They really need to find their brain power back. I think the power issue is still persisting with them, and EVOS is absolutely running over them.
Double ward, they really saw him coming. But it just doesn't matter. They're not even under the tower. What is happening?
Oh, whoa. Yes, no. This is not looking great.
No, it's not. But Nor's just going to get killed here on the backside because Dia1 did TP. He didn't even TP. He just walked down.
yeah. I think he used his ult to get there more quickly.
Yeah, I suppose. But level 1 Ryze ult
and now,
get you that far.
First, Karthus ult, no kill. That's already really big. Karthus losing his blue buff as well. Look at the farm. It's even between the two junglers, while Zorn has had a lot of pressure on the map. Karthus not working out so far for Meliodas and DBL as a whole. 2k gold lead at 8 minutes, completely turning the early game around from the first game. Look at this very good block from Zorn. That was a very good E against Palette.
Absolutely, but this was just, I think, very poorly played.
Wait, what happened in top lane?
Mias got a solo kill?
No, I think he used his ult
to teleport.
Yeah. That's what happened there. Kind of confusing because they didn't actually show the action of stopping the teleport there, so it looked like a solo queue approach, but very good awareness from Rezo. Didn't even have to use his flash to stop to get out of there. In the end, still EVOS getting out on top of the play.
Absolutely. They came out way ahead.
Oh, good for Meliodas.
But still, having to use that first Karthus ult and getting absolutely zero impact from it, that's really bad.
Yeah, I think he at least got one Dark Harvest stack, so that's the bare minimum you can expect to get from the first ultimate. But no flash. Look at the flash expended on DBL's side. 3 people without flash and 3 people who are prone to be picked on, especially Meliodas if he's ever found in the jungle there. We already saw that Zorn can absolutely murder him.
Oh, absolutely. That Karthus isn't going to be able to stand on his own 2 feet or float on his own. I don't know what Karthus does. Whatever he does, whatever Karthus does to make him happy, he won't be able to defend himself for a little while.
I'm not sure if he's able to ever be happy. He's a lich. He's a dead person being revived. Of course, I actually have no idea about lich meta or story.
I think it's to do with the Shadow Isles. Like, it's the Black Man.
Yeah, I think he's floating. I think he's floating there. Looking at his model again, he's probably floating around there.
Yeah. But this looks like it might be the 2 early objectives of that first dragon and the Rift Herald going over to EVOS. What a different team we're seeing. EVOS looks so much better. Also, Dashing Buffalo looks a lot worse.
I think back to the FTV series. It was kind of the same for EVOS there. The first game did not look great against one of our weakest teams here, and then the second game, DivKit came in. They looked like a completely different team. The only performing player from the first game for FTV was Zorn, I think, but then he had an even better performance in game 2 and 3. To be fair, the first game against DBL has not been too great. He had some very good proactive plays and mechanical outplays, especially with the ult there.
Yeah, Meliodas is actually close here as Mias is going in to try and kill Ryzo. Oh, but he's going to get the kill! Can he? Oh, no. Ryzo getting away on that much health is so big. This should allow Meliodas to pick up a kill.
Whoa, the turnaround.
Whoa.
And the ult comes in. It should not be enough.
No, that's not going to kill.
No. Wow, Mia's showing up in this
Wow.
game. This is completely different from the first game. Mia's struggling a lot now, almost 1v2 killing both there. That was very close. Aatrox once again looking like the strongest top laner in VCS in terms of champions.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Aatrox worldwide is showing just how ridiculous he is.
Yeah, but sometimes he struggles a lot in laning phase. I think in VCS especially, Aatrox has not had any bad laning phases really.
That's true.
Most of the time dominating actually the matchup. We all know
Very
how
true.
absolutely ridiculous he is in the late game. Team fights, or even just 1v1s if he actually hits the first reset there. So, okay, I guess if he hits a reset, it's not a 1v1 anymore, but yeah, he could absolutely be insanely strong in skirmishes.
Still, very, very well played there in this early game by EVOS.
Yeah, two
I
dragons
really,
and 2k gold lead at 12 minutes. 4-0.
yeah, two dragons and the Rift Herald.
Yeah, that's
This
still
is
available as
dominating.
well. They have 1 minute left to
No,
use the
Rift
Rift
Herald's been
Hold.
taken.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
Rift Herald, yeah, it's been taken. Sorry, I thought I misheard you. Can we get
Yeah,
drops
still
for
available to
the?
drop. I meant, yeah, there was a
Yeah,
bit of miscommunication there. I think they should definitely use it in the next minute to get more platings. Mid lane is the best. They could actually go for a first turret bot, but it's a bit risky because the play is very telegraphed. So if they step a bit too far in the bot lane, but look at their vision control. They will actually spot everyone who's coming in, especially now with Sawn. And Mias is still dominating the top lane matchup, so I have to readjust my assessment here. I think they can just freely go for the bot lane first turret. They have 30 seconds left to drop the Herald, so please, Sawn, go ahead. Don't waste the.
why? I do hope he doesn't waste it. I think he is about to drop it.
It's a bit late still. It's only 20 seconds remaining now. Rift Herald is quite slow.
Yep, but
Might
it's
be
coming.
very, very
It'll get
close. Yeah, it will get the
through. It'll get
platings. Yeah, yeah. So first
through.
turret probably going down to EVOS. Oh, that's a really
Yeah,
big lead. 4k now.
that's huge. So I have to beg the question with the fact that Rise is only 9 CS down in mid. Not ideal, but not terrible, and he has a kill. Why did the Dashing Buffalo do these lane
Yeah,
assignments?
that's a very good question. I'm still.
Rizo is pumped. He's about to get solo killed if Mias wants it. Yep, see, Mias hits that, so he's just going. Has D1 here as well. Doesn't quite get it, but
Oh,
does
this is
force a
actually quite
TP
risky
out.
for EVOS. They could throw away a lot of
Actually
their
pretty
lead.
bad.
Yeah.
But look at the damage coming out. The Irelia ult will shut this down, I think. And
Good
D1
flash
does
from
manage to
Dia1.
flash
Yeah,
out.
yeah. At least he gets out of there. Bit overzealous. I think we have to give them a little bit of wriggle room because. I mean, they were behind all of last game. Give them a few aggressive plays as well. So okay, overstep from Mias. He is feeling great. Just got stomped in the last game. This time he's dominating his lane matchup. But yeah,
Exactly.
I talked about DBL kind of picking skill check compositions here. So they wanted to dominate both solo lanes, and they actually lost both solo lanes, or at least went only even, while hard losing bot. So this is not looking great
That
for
was
EVOS. Whoa,
an
the Q.
interesting, passionate passage of play. Oh, the Q damage, not quite enough. Really interesting passage of play there before DivKid and Biob arrived. Not 100% sure what was going on. Big Koro ulting to dodge nothing, and then an interestingly placed barrel in response. But in the end, no one dies, just a few ults burn. And it looks like, has the lane swap been called? Yes. It will be the ADCs moving mid. Tower picked up in the top lane because of all the damage done by Mias. This is a bad time for Dashing Buffalo.
Yeah, it's not looking great in the mid game. Now, the next objective for EVOS will probably be the mid lane outer turret, and looking at their Varus usually very good champ at sieging, backed up by very good disengage in Braum and Gragas, so not even a big opportunity to go on top of the
Oh,
Gragas.
Rizo winning that trade, then
Backing
interesting
off.
direction to throw that
Oh,
to.
but Ryzer has to be very careful about trading against first item Hex, not Hexbringer, the actual
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it's called. So if he underestimates the shield from Maw, it can get turned around very quickly on him. So I hope he checked the item build.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he is aware. I like that first item there for Mias. I think recognizing that he is going to be all solo lane all the time,
Yeah.
and it's almost always going to be Ryzo checking it.
It's helping against the Karthus damage as well, especially because it only activates on low HP. So if he gets away and then Karthus ult comes in, yeah, perfect item against Karthus. Karthus is really far behind in this game. He's only even on XP, which is never great as a Karthus. Slightly ahead in CS, but not greatly. Has only secured one item so far.
Yeah, this is nothing like Levi's Karthus that we saw.
And even
That
Levi's
was really...
Karthus lost. It looked really good. It looked really, really good. If you want to see very good pathing, if you want to know how to jungle Karthus, go watch that game by Levi. That was a very good show. They still lost the game because Gum is a mess, but yeah, Levi looked very good.
Yeah, but it's actually not the lethality Varus coming in.
Nope.
He's actually the on hit. Has gone the Blade of the Ruin King, Ruin's Hurricane, and look at the lead he has over Big Koro in terms of item.
It's quite big, and it's actually not the old build anymore. He's going back to crit Varus, which is an interesting adaptation. It's because of the nerf on Rageblade, I think that might be actual higher damage output in the later stages of the game. Obviously needs one more item to really get going now. And look at the dragon spawning as well. It's another mountain drake soon, so EVOS is in no hurry at all. They can just push out lanes, get priority over everything. They actually take down this mid turret without
just
much.
Getting a free mid turret.
Yeah.
Like, this is the collapse of Dashing Buffalo. They're 5k down.
And it gets harder and harder for them to actually come back in this game. They don't have great Baron contest. They can engage a fight with maybe a Rakan flank and maybe something like Aurelia and Akali collapsing there as well. But the double mountain Ryze Varus Aatrox Baron is insane. It's so fast. You can burst the Baron in probably under 10 seconds, I think, after a few levels, especially with Diamond already hitting level 13 there. So, yeah, it's not looking like DBL can come back into this game. And they really have to think about the next game. They got... This game, so far, EVOS is looking like the better team on the day. After the first two games, I think. First game, absolutely dominated by DBL in the early game, but then throwing it away, extending it to 45 minutes. EVOS much cleaner with the lead.
I think we do have to... We have to see EVOS close this out.
Absolutely. Obviously, yeah.
Because we may well see a situation similar to last game. But so far, there's just no real shining lights here for DBL. Wall did pick up a kill, but it wasn't really on the back of a good play by him, more a bad play
by Mias. Yeah. Oh, an immediate...
And they're just going 20-minute Baron.
Did not expect that to happen. I thought they wanted to. They would wait for second Elder to spawn, not Elder, second Mountain to spawn. But they're very fast. This is gone.
Yep, they have no idea. Dashing Buffalo have no clue.
But Dashing Buffalo is not playing in this game. They're just running around. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. They're not. They're running around the map, catching waves, but not really using it to do anything. And now they've got
slowly bleeding out. And look at the gold lead. It's only 4-1 kills, but the gold lead is insane. It's 6k at 20 minutes. Baron secured for EVOS. This should be very smooth path to victory now for EVOS. Group maybe 1-3-1. You can 1-3-1. You can 4-1. You can freely decide between the two. Set up the Baron, Gragas, Braum core in the mid lane. You can do whatever you want with your side laners. Oh,
DR1 does get caught here. Shouldn't be able to win this 1v1, so he does Realm Warp out. But, I don't know if he... That was almost looking like it was beginning to turn... Ooh, interesting ult there from DivKid. Keeping it out. But with the Predator pop, they can't... With the Predator pop, they don't think they want to be going in. The inner turret is taken, and they had the two flanks set up and didn't do anything.
Yeah. DBL is debating if they want to go for a last stand now, if they want to wait for a next item for Karthus possibly, or even for the Big Core. I like Big Core's itemization here, going straight into Infinity Edge. I think if he hits Infinity Edge in the next 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, and they get a good fight, they can still kind of turn around the game. It will be very hard, especially with Akali sitting on no kill at all. Aurelia not accelerated, so heavily in favor of EVOS, but there's a slim possibility. Oh, adaptation from DivKid as well, with the Hex Drinker now coming out. So really wants to be standing face to face to the Akali in the team fights probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a very gold efficient buy. You're against an Akali who's most likely to be diving you, plus the Karthus ult. I just think that's a really good decision. I'm not sure what Thorn did to that. Ooh, he could get caught out here, but Mias is here to back him up. I don't think this is a 2v2 that Buffalo
all 5 members are here for Buffalo.
It's absolutely a 5v2 that they want, and Mias might have a chance to get out. No, he doesn't.
Look at the other lanes. Look at the other lanes. It's still Baron for EVOS. And
yep, this was a really risky thing to commit 5 people to. This is going to be the mid inhibitor turret.
They don't have Baron recall, so this is taking a lot of the time to get back there.
Yeah, and Swan could potentially stop a recall here, or at least threaten to. No, he doesn't in the end, but that's the inhibitor turret taken, and the top inner. That's not worth it.
No, that's absolutely not worth it. Mia's kind of playing the role of the bait in this game. Maybe not deliberately. Yeah. I think he's kind of being the bait without wanting to be the bait. As Karthus is absolutely useless.
And they're going in. Look at the damage out of DivKid. Just deletes the Karthus, and there's no real... The Karthus ult will come in, but it's not going to find anything. I tell a lie, apparently. It's going to find DivKid.
So much Tier 1 damage. Tier 1.
Tier 1 going so big here. Pallet's so low. Mias is here. He doesn't have ult, so he can't really get in with the speed. Pallet gets a shield. He's on nothing. Can they find him? I don't think they can.
Oh, Pallet lives!
Oh my god! Pallet.
He dances around the fight. Nicely done by Pallet. And they actually find a very successful fight there for DBL. It doesn't really change anything in terms of game state. The only thing they really did in the last few minutes was delay the second Mountain Drake, which is a bit of a valuable achievement as well. So now EVOS will finally go back to the Mountain Drake many minutes later than it should have. So look at this again.
Getting a 2v2, 2-4-2, I should say.
Oh, this good. Oh, that was ugly. That was really ugly. My God. Everything was missed. Okay, EVOS missed absolutely every skill shot they threw. So not the optimal fight for them. And look at DR1's turnaround damage on Rezo and Palette, as well as the Big Core there. Doesn't even land the Q on Big Core. I think Palette was absolutely dead if he landed the Q. Still with the E active.
Absolutely. Oh, that shield just coming in clutch. He's on single-digit health there.
He has absolutely nothing. Ooh!
And then... Oh!
Palette with the highlight plays after absolutely inting away.
I think if we had player cam on Palette there, you would have seen him unclench as he got away. Because that's a clencher.
That's an absolute clencher. Mias is still insanely strong, and they have now secured 2 Mountain Drakes. The third Mountain Drake, we might actually see a third Mountain Dragon take. Baron, I should say. Let's count the seconds when they approach the Baron as 5. I think it's not living longer than 5 seconds once the third Mountain comes in.
Yep, absolutely. If all 5 of them are hitting it, that Baron is looking a lot more like your average garden worm. And he's going down real quick.
Right, how strong is Ryze? This is the real question now. Can Ryze actually solo lane against Aurelia and Kali at this stage? He's level 16. He should be able to. Look at the crits. 989. 803. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Wow.
That is so... Oh, don't miss.
He managed to through it.
This is...
DR1 doesn't have vision in the bush. Oh, this is very...
He's also not in the bush.
DR1. That was...
Hello?
A peak performance.
This is actually 4v5 with Baron alive.
Yeah, they don't have any Baron speed though, so I guess they have Karthus. Karthus is good at taking Baron, but He doesn't have a blue buff right now, if I saw this correctly. So Baron is still a very risky proposition, especially looking across level 15 Aatrox.
Yeah, this is an interesting game for sure. A few slip-ups coming out from EVOS are sort of keeping the Buffalo in it
And they
in
immediately
terms of...
turn on Baron once again.
It's going down so fast as
Karthus,
well.
Karthus, you have to go around the wall. This Baron is gone, but now the fight might go.
Yep. The fight might break out here. Sorn a little bit trapped in the pit. Has to go over that back wall once he has his E. He does get out, but Pallet's gone. That's the reset for Mias. He's got the speed. The cask brings Null back. Null will fall.
Very nicely done.
I had to stretch. But yeah, that's 3 dead. That's a Baron up. That's an inhib exposed. This could be game.
Yeah, this really could be game. They have Baron and 2 Mountain Drakes. Those turrets will melt.
I think this actually is game.
Very good performance out of EVOS in the second game. Some blunders still in the mid game, but looking like the much better coordinated team overall. Very good early game. We still have to come back to Palette's play there.
Trying.
Did you see the crit there? Oh my god. Oh, Palette is probably going to be blown up.
Oh, Sorn! That was so well played by Sorn to set D1 up.
Actually, DivKid hit his first ever ult as my screen freezes for a second. I'm very sorry about that, but the game is over anyway, so...
We'll probably have to resync, but we can do that
in the break, yeah. I probably have to once reset my YouTube there, because YouTube is kind of laggy sometimes, but let's get back to this very good performance from EVOS. I'm impressed. I think this was their best game so far, and
yeah, this was really good by EVOS, but also really bad by Buffalo.
Really, especially by the bot lane. I think their bot lane looked atrocious. I
don't know what was going on.
I still don't understand the jungle pick. As I said before, I was very worried for Meliodas. He's not striking me as a pathing jungler, and I think it really showed there. Pathing was not great from the Karthus. He fell behind in the 1v1 matchup against Gragas. Well, Gragas got things done in the lanes. Went for a very good early kill there in the bot lane.
Yeah.
Solo lanes were not winning hard enough. Very interesting swap. I still don't understand the swap between the lanes there. The Aurelia and Akali swap.
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me because it kind of looked like Aurelia couldn't punish Ryze that much, and Akali lost pretty hard in the trade.
Yeah, really hard. Almost getting solo killed twice, I think, there.
Yeah, it seemed like it would have been a lot better to go the other way. I'm not sure. But we are going to a game 3.
Finally, another she is going to get through.
Predicting that this was going to be a 2-1 either way. I think we had a few people say Buffalo, a few people say EVOS. But I think EVOS looked a lot better in their win.
Yeah. I want to favor EVOS now, but we have to be careful. It can be just one big blunder in the early game, and maybe it was really only the Karthus pick there. So Buffaloes are not out. Their mid game has looked very weak so far in VCS Summer, and they've just lost their first early game. But they are still a very dangerous team, especially if Meliodas gets on the ganking jungler. I'd like to see him go back to some of his ganking jungle ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we do need... he just didn't look good at trying to path and do that.
No,
it seems like
he was not effective.
Stick him on a Rek'Sai or a Jarvan. I think his Jarvan's great.
And even though DivKid's Varus ults were very off in this game, he still showed a very good laning performance. Kind of got gifted a little bit of the advantage there as well from a Palette. I hope someone takes the time to make a highlight out of that play, because that's another showcase of VCS pros being insanely good at the game.
You hope that there's someone slapping him on the back of the head and saying, "What are you doing?"
And maybe the power issues are finally resolved for EVOS, for Dashing Buffalo as well, and they will come back to their usual domination of VCS. So let's see. Let's see how the third game goes.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
We have to discuss MVPs still. I'm sorry.
Oh, true. Yeah, true. I forgot. I'm leaning towards jungle.
Yeah, I think Sorn had a very good performance.
Yeah, Sorn had a bit of a cracker.
Top lane was not bad either, but he didn't get any solo kills. So I think, and he had a few blunders in mid game. DR1 got caught there in the end, so I think that's a bit of a head scratcher for him. Maybe if he didn't get caught there, he would be in the conversation. But I think Sorn is a very fair choice. So we'll give it to him once again. Third MVP from our side to Sorn.
Yeah, we're loving it. We're loving it from Sorn.
Yeah, Sorn is one of my absolute favorite players in the VCS. I think he's such an aggressive and very talented young jungler coming in for EVOS now. So we'll be back in 4 minutes. I need to reset my stream, and we'll get to see our second ever full best of 3 once again with featuring EVOS.
Yeah, let's hopefully game 3 is a bit more even. G'day everyone, we're back here for game 2 of the Dashing Buffalo.
Three. It's a 3 actually.
Game 3, yeah. Oh, game 3. Oh my god. Sorry, for some reason I forgot about game 1. How can I forget? That was a series in of itself.
Yeah, very true. We
Game
actually
3.
get a third game in the series that has already lasted longer than everything else we've casted so far, I think, because of the long power break in between and the first game being a very long back and forth as well. As today, we seem to be aligned very good with the official broadcast there. And once again, MVP going to the same person.
Yeah, for once, yeah. They didn't just pick the highest kills. Good on you.
Yeah, good job. Not going with the ADC because he's 7-0 whatever. Did nothing in the game, but still got the MVP. Shout out to Slater there, and Celebrity obviously. Yep. I think we're kind of biased towards junglers. I feel like, but to be honest, a lot of junglers have looked very good in the first week of VCS play. We have seen quite a few carry performances out of the jungle position.
Absolutely. I also think it's because junglers, with the amount of early aggression that the VCS sees, the junglers backing up their laners is really, really important.
Yeah. So I really hope there will not be another power issue or anything else, because then this will be very late for you. I'm very sorry about that. We're already hitting.
I'll be okay. Yeah. It's Monday morning, but I'll be all right.
Yeah, we're hitting a very late times in Vietnam as well. If I'm right about that, I think we are already at 10 p.m. or something like that, maybe 9 p.m. So very late, getting late for the players as well. They are probably not going to sleep too early on, so should be fine. But how is DBL coming back from this loss and the power issues and the long drawn-out game 1?
Yeah, I feel like it's so hard to call this because all it takes is the Buffalo getting it together in the mid game, and they'll be okay. But we haven't seen a good mid game from them.
Nope. They have played 4 games on stage, and all 4 mid games have been horrible. As we are finally back into pick and bans.
I think we want to see Aatrox banned out this time.
Oh yeah! Honestly. After the performances of both of the top laners, I think Aatrox should hit the bans. This time, I think the onus is on EVOS to ban it out, because Dashing Buffalo will probably be very happy to pick it up as the first pick, especially with Irelia not performing too well in the VCS so far. I think Aatrox rises in priority even higher if there are no good Irelia players that are able to punish him in lane.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's very interesting. Ban's looking mostly the same here.
Blue side Karma seems to be a very high valued ban. So teams are not willing to give her up to the red side first round, but don't want to first pick her either. Interesting little trend. I think EVOS banned her in game 2 on blue side as well.
I'm not sure how I feel. These double enchanter bans that EVOS has been doing are so strange.
Yeah. Biop might not be able to play those 2 champions, and they're very scared. So we see the Aatrox ban finally coming in. What are we looking at for first pick for Dashing Buffalo? Xayah comes to mind. Irelia, Nico.
Nico, yep. We're so in sync. And it is the Nico picked up. Not too surprising.
No,
there's been a really high
really not surprising. And I still don't really like the Nico first pick if Irelia is up, but we have not seen a good Irelia, so maybe it's warranted there. Null had a very good Nico performance in game 1. We debated giving him the MVP for that game, actually, because of his very good late-game team fighting.
I mean, something we haven't
it's Irelia Xayah. It's always Irelia Xayah on second
Yeah, I think it is always Irelia Xayah here. But looking back on the Dashing Buffalo, one thing we haven't considered here is they still have a Sona turret.
That's very true.
They demonstrated they can play that. It's not banned. They really get a first rotation brawl.
What is going on? Okay,
What are
maybe
you
maybe
picking that again?
maybe they're banking on the palette inting the bot lane away once again.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to tilt pallets.
Very, very possible. So now, free Zyra Khan here once again. If they want to, if they, yeah, they just lost Zyra Khan, so I guess they're not confident enough to pick up the Zyra Khan again. Forget about game 2 and tell.
But why pick Nautilus here?
Oh, please don't ask me about the VCS Nautilus. It's tilting me to oblivion.
I don't mind the Nautilus pick overall. I think Nautilus is great, but why not get Zaya and a high tier jungler? But now, like, you
There's
get
the
the
high tier
Rek'Sai,
jungler,
great,
but why
but you
did you
could
give
lose
up
Zaya.
Zaya? Yeah, that's not great. Maybe Divkit doesn't want to play Zaya. It's still probably hitting the bench now with Ben Face coming in next.
Yeah, I can't imagine Dashing Buffalo gets to pick Zaya in their last two.
Oh, the real question now, if Ezreal gets locked in, is can you play Sonar Nautilus? Because this is a very free Sonar lane, in my opinion.
Don't know if you can play Soda Nautilus. I think you sort of need the safety of the Tahm Kench.
Nautilus is not too great with a lot of gold, too. If he hits 100 CS, he doesn't really do anything different than if he has 50 CS, so...
I know he gets to be a big boy, can buy some tank.
Yeah, a little bit bigger, but it's not like he's a full tank with 100 CS, so...
No.
Not too sure about that. What is this ban? They are really scared of Nol's LeBlanc. Once again, banning it away, but please, please ban the Zaya. If you're not banning Zaya, you don't deserve to win this game.
It's somewhat confusing to me because you're banning this LeBlanc in your second phase every time. If it's so scary...
And after Nol has
why is
already
it
shown a
being
mid lane Nico, so it's very possible that this Nico is actually mid. Razor's, if I remember correctly,
Exactly.
Razor has not played a Nico game so far. He has played 2 Aatroxes. Another...
Why is this LeBlanc? If you're scared of a LeBlanc, ban it in the first round. They're banning Sivir over Zaya.
Oh, EVOS, what are you doing? We praised your drafting the last 2 times. This time around, I think the draft has been a mess. The first round from EVOS could have been so much better. You could have assembled Aurelia, Zaya, plus strong support or strong jungler. Instead, they have Ezreal Braum, which, I mean, Ezreal Braum is fine, but you really don't need to first round Ezreal Braum. What's the
No, exactly. I don't understand. And I like this from the Buffalo. Ban out some junglers you don't want to play against.
Yep.
Pinch the jungler. You've already locked up Rek'Sai, but yeah,
Oh,
Olaf's still
will we
open.
finally get to see another Olaf game? Very volatile pick for EVOS, and it doesn't really fit the Ezreal composition, I think. Ezreal likes to scale a little bit in the mid game, and Olaf really needs to get going early. So I would like to see another aggressive setup for EVOS.
This has to be Zaya, right?
If it's not Zaya, both teams are trolling.
Well, I mean, did you see the Buffalo last game?
I mean, that's very true, but what else could they pick here? There's Sivir is banned, Ezreal is already picked. They could go Varus.
Tyson, number 1 ADC Vietnam.
Get me out. Please no Kaiser here.
Oh my god!
Oh no! Zaya will go unpicked, unbanned in this game.
Open? I don't understand.
Oh, VCS, what have you done?
Like, Braum, in a way, does counter the Zaya ult. He can put the shield up and the feathers. But who cares?
Yeah, really, who cares? Oh no. That's an interesting adaptation. Corki into the Akali mid, which is a farm lane for Corki, and he likes to scale. So now I really don't understand the Olaf pick. I think the Olaf has absolutely no place in this draft.
Who else do you pick there?
Anything.
Like,
you can go Skarner. Skarner is good into Rek'Sai.
I mean, that's true. Skarner should... there is 0% presence for Skarner in the VCS, which...
Yeah, that's very sad. But Skarner would have been a really, really good pick in this phase, especially against Rek'Sai. You could also go... Really, you can go anything there. Olaf is such an aggressive pick without any lanes that he can play around. The only real aggressive lane he has with some CC setup is top lane, and then you're playing against a Nico or a Kali there, who are both very
Yeah,
hard to gank for the Olaf, especially a Kali now. So
absolutely.
not looking too hot. The Olaf will struggle a lot to find kills. And we all know what happens if Olaf doesn't get kills in the early game.
Yep,
He's
he becomes
not a
the
champion
rocket.
anymore.
Yep, yep, it's not great.
I have no idea how EVOS' draft went from being really good in game 1 and 2 to being this bad in game 3. What happened to their... maybe now their brain machine has a power issue. I'm not sure.
They really need to sort out. Maybe get a backup generator for the brain machines.
I mean, generally, I like the Ezreal Corki backline, especially if you're able to slow down the game like you did last game, and it's very safe there. But why are you pairing that up with the Olaf? And even the Braum is a bit questionable. Ezreal Braum is it's not the greatest lane combination.
I agree. I mean, like you had the opportunity to potentially not ban Yumi and like pick it.
Or Lux, for that matter.
Either.
Anything really. As we get two Kaisers, so this is really VCS. How the VCS loves to have two Kaisers on the Rift. They want to have 5 Kaisers, by the looks of things.
They absolutely love the Kaiser. It's so strange how you look
really
at different
strange.
regions and how they read the meta. Nautilus being the premier support, Kaiser being a contested ADC. It's pretty wacky.
Yeah, if you tell any NA or EU team that picking up Kaiser Nautilus is a good bot lane draft in VCS, they would spam you with question mark pings. Really, it's not something we see all that often anymore. Kaiser is more like a fallback pick. If every ADC gets banned out, you go to Kaiser because nothing else is available in other regions.
Yep, absolutely,
And look at the Kaiser. She has PTA, so we can be very hyped for the best Kaiser build in the game. Coming out once again for a big Koro there.
It hurts me in a deep way. It's just so gold vision. Oh, but the hook here onto Beyond probably won't do a huge amount because it is a Braum. And a fair bit of damage back. Look at Null.
Yeah,
it actually isn't caught to Akali though, which we sort of did expect.
Yeah.
It is into the Nico instead, which is probably a little bit better. But
I'm actually not sure which matchup is better for the Corki. I would expect Nico actually wins the lane harder. But
that's
Corki,
I meant better for the Buffalo.
Yeah. It's that's why they swapped away. Akali against Aurelia, especially in the long lane, is very much in favor of Akali.
Here.
And he's low. Look at Sawn's HP. Oh, Sawn, this is very risky.
He's an Olaf. He's Olaf though.
And does he have smite ability?
Look at the damage. He smoked the blue. He got the blue.
Oh no, Sawn. Oh, double buff over to the top laner. Not the greatest start. Sawn once again contributing to the first blood, this time on the wrong side of the rift though.
Yeah, that's
Olaf
a bad time.
Hitting it off really great.
Yeah, Raizo just had priority in top lane, so he was always going to rotate first. I think if it had been a straight 1v1, Olaf actually wins that.
It was very close. It was very close.
He's so strong at low health and had smite for a little bit of heal.
I think it looked like Olaf would have won there, but it would have been very close either way. And now Akali with double buff and first blood gold. Ooh,
yeah, not good.
Look at this again. So, Olaf at 300 HP. Meliodas gets tagged there. Olaf goes down. Oh, would have been very close. I don't think Meliodas needed to flash there. Don't like his flash. I think he was safe.
I think he was just making sure though, because it potentially could have been first blood.
It's a lot that you're giving away on the Rek'Sai. Flash is so valuable in the early game on Rek'Sai. It's pretty much one free kill. We saw on MSI so many Rek'Sais go straight into any lane and get one free kill because of their flash and burrow. That tool is now gone, but she has already contributed to 1 kill, so I guess it's an okay trade to make.
Yep. Interesting recall location there for Norl. Near the enemy raptor. But...
Yeah, he spotted up the raptors, so they have full information on the Olaf. Olaf wants to go back to farming now. He doesn't want to participate in this game anymore. He probably wants to remake this game. Losing first blood as Olaf is a really bad feeling.
This is where he kicks his power. This is where he kicks his power core. Oh, the power issues are back, guys.
Yeah,
oh, no. Guess we're gonna have to restart. No, unfortunately for EVOS, that's not going to happen. So they will have to deal with the fact that he's caught jungle here by Ryzo. I don't know if Ryzo wants this fight.
It doesn't look like it.
Gets over the wall. Knew that Mias was coming in. Still, Thorn not having a good time. He's constantly had people bothering him.
And I just noticed something there. Ryzo has opted into the electrocute, which is very off-putting to me, because he's in a long lane against Aurelia on an Akali that is actually able to kill the Aurelia and chase her down. And he's going with the burst option. That's usually when you don't want to trade for longer. I think Akali can absolutely go Conqueror in this matchup and win the longest trades. Even though Aurelia is one of the best Conqueror champs in the game. It's you're giving away the long trades.
The first gank from Meliodas does come in. The TP is actually going to be a 4v3 here. Mias hits the stun onto Palette.
Yeah,
we might get a kill back. We do. DivKid picks one up.
Good counter TP there. Mias has to go back to top lane very quickly, though. Kill went over to DivKid. They would have liked the kill to go to Mias to equalize the matchup in the top lane, but anyway, Palette once again goes down. Hasn't had the best series so far, but to be fair to him, this was not his mistake. He had to give up his life.
This time it wasn't him spam dancing.
Oh man.
And just getting absolutely wrong.
That's the first time I go back to when we were finished with this series. I'll watch that clip 5 times.
Null stepping up real close here. He's just getting chunked. A lot of damage beyond.
He's not getting.
Interesting.
It looked like EVOS won the fight quite heavily. I am really surprised they didn't pursue Null there. Dia 1 is still with flash available. DivKid had to flash out, but he was almost full HP. Very defensive approach from EVOS. Kind of scared that they're giving away all their early game safety, because they have played 7 minutes now without falling too far behind, which is very good for their comp.
Except for bot lane here. It's the 20 CS lead because of the really bad reset after that dragon fight.
The gold is still pretty much even. Look at the gold totals. It's the Clapter doing work for the Ezreal there.
Clapter. Great rune. I love when your lane lead is decided by a dice roll. It's always fun.
And looking at Dicore's items, it's an even bigger gold lead, because that's just not stat efficient.
Yeah. Dicore, why do you hurt me like this?
Especially against an Ezreal matchup is even more disturbing, I think, because Ezreal goes tier, so you can absolutely go tier as well. It's so free to go tier into Ezreal.
I think it just says that they want to be fighting a little bit earlier, which, I mean, okay.
Yeah, but you're hurting your mid game so much, absolutely.
And I think the Buffalo have struggled enough in the mid game to, maybe you want to be preserving that mid game power spike rather than compromising it.
Yeah.
But, well,
this is another Kaiser going for the 9.5 build instead of the 9.12 build. And overall, I think Buffalo, we have alluded to this early on in the cast, they look a little bit outdated. Not only in terms of draft, which is looking a little bit like like a 9.8 draft, MSI draft.
We're seeing a gank in here. Palette gets stunned up. Lots of damage. Has to flash away from the axe.
Yeah, this time Palette gets out of there. Yeah, I don't think that he actually invested his Ragnarok there, I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah, I'm not sure what CC he was trying to dodge there. Maybe
Wanted the extra damage, maybe? Yeah.
I think rather the tank starts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
choice once again for Sorn. Sorn has not looked good in this third game so far.
So far, no. Very interesting choice to invade the blue buff early on. Meliodas will venture bot, but won't find anything. Was the EVOS bot lane backing off? Sorn gets found in the jungle. He gets seen, but
He doesn't have his ult available, as we just talked about earlier, so he has to be very
going
careful.
very deep into the wolves.
And look at his build, he's going full AD. He doesn't deviate to tank, which we sometimes see with Olaf. Olaf can absolutely go Cinderhulk still. This Olaf is going in, and he only knows one way.
Yep. He's going to go into a fight, press R, right click on Kai'Sa, and let
die.
his axes. He might not die yet. We don't know. There's still a lot of game. But yeah, I mean, looking at it so far, it might not have been the best decision ever.
No. And even though it's a 1k gold lead for DBL, EVOS can kind of still be alright with this. Sadly for them, the second Drake roll actually is not that great for them. They've taken the first Drake, and now the second one is a much higher priority choice. And they have fallen behind in gold. They don't want to fight for the second Drake right now.
Yeah.
Maybe if Corki is able to complete his Trinity Force before the fight actually starts, that's a little bit of an opportunity there. But right now, looking at the item timings, it's not great for EVOS.
Yeah, D1 did just use the package as well. Was a little bit deep and just used it as a get out of jail free card. Yeah. That's a fairly big playmaking tool that's not going to be used for this Infernal in 27.
Yeah, I think the Infernal is very much in favor of DBL right now, but DBL are actually going for an early Rift Herald instead, so now a little bit of an opportunity for EVOS to immediately force their hand of the enemy team. Sadly for them, their bot lane has lost all priority, so free for Big Koro to spot out Sorn's movement there, and they will give up the Rift Herald on the top side. Try to counter with the dragon. Yeah, but Meliodas is on his way. Oh, yeah. if Dashing Buffaloes is not fighting for this, they have made a big blunder. Wow, they're actually giving it up.
I don't think they have much of a choice. I think Biob's going to be a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, EVOS is very happy with this. They even got another TP from Razor for absolutely nothing. So another plating probably traded in favor of EVOS there. Wow,
overall, that's a great trade for EVOS. And they're just popping the Herald.
And once again, it looks like Dashing Buffalo doesn't have the best communication and assessment of the situation there.
Rizo going in for the solo kill on D1. Flash is burned from both sides. D1 is... Oh, no!
Oh, the steal. Very nicely done.
You cheeky prick, Paul.
Nico comes in. I absolutely deserve this kill and presses one button there.
That's my lane opponent?
Razor dances around everything, dodges and uses his flash, and then Null is there and presses his one item. Man,
love it.
That's so sad for Razor.
I honestly forgot that did damage.
I think maybe the rookie has been put in his place there. Null teaching him that he is still the long-standing member, so no kills for you. If that's my kill, if I can get that kill, you will not get it.
Rizo gets hit up by that Irelia, but he's just standing in the shroud and just waiting it out.
One level advantage for Razor there.
Oof. That's the problem with Akali. You can't engage on her while she has the shroud up.
So the DBL kind of traded the immediate gold lead for a scaling on EVOS' side. EVOS is quite happy with this trade as well. So both teams come away from the passage of play maybe not quite super happy, but still kind of content. So how are both teams transitioning this position now into the mid game? DBL needs to make stuff happen. They need to catch out members and get especially the mid tower done to set up for a later Baron place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be interesting. There is nothing really on the map at the moment that's a
No.
strong point of contention, which is a shame because this is when DBL obviously has this strong lead.
Oh, and look at Dia1 finally
Where they
able to fight back a little bit.
double stun. Mias doing his best here, but it's just not going to be enough.
No, he
Try
got
your best,
absolutely
but you
wrecked
don't
there.
succeed. It looked flashy, but it didn't
He
really
had
matter
this
in the end.
flash available, so he didn't try everything to outplay this dive. Still could have flashed back the other side.
Whoa! Long range hook there, and Dia1
Whoa!
is Gonski.
That was a very quick kill. Clean Q from
Buffalo
Paulette.
looking good.
Yeah, Buffalo
They're
finally
making
getting back into their own game speed. I think last game was very much slowed down by EVOS, and Buffalo with their Karthus jungle could not respond and could not accelerate the game. This time it's much more scrappy. It's like Buffalo likes to play. We saw many games for them in MSI, even getting advantages against very good teams. So this is how Buffalo actually wins the games. They like to scrap and fight a lot. And the first game also had a very big advantage for them, even bigger than this one. And EVOS was almost able to come back, so it's still not over, especially looking at the double ADC backline coming out of EVOS for the late game. Buffalo needs to show up now, but they definitely have the honest to win the game now. They are in a much stronger position.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'd be saying this is incredibly Buffalo favored, but we've seen them falter in this position just one or two too many times. So I don't fully trust them to be able to finish this out yet, but they are certainly favored. They seem to be playing their game, as you said, which is really important. It helps so much with the confidence. If they don't, they won't look as lost in the mid game, you would hope, if they're playing what they're used to.
And they need to be careful about the triple Trinity power spike coming in the next few minutes, with Ezreal finishing his Trinity Force probably, until 17 or 18 minutes. So there's a little bit of an opportunity for EVOS to immediately capitalize on that item power spike. The triple Infinity Edge obviously is super strong, not Infinity, Trinity Force, I'm sorry. Super strong in mid game, so maybe we'll get to see EVOS make a proactive play to capitalize on item timing. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I would as well. I think at that time, again, I think we might have the unfortunate timing where nothing will be up. Because I think Dragon will be taken pretty much on spawn, and yeah, it is. I don't think it won't be in time for a Baron fight. I think it'll be too early. Plus, I think going for that early at a Baron, incredibly foolish.
Yeah, very good role for DBL.
Oh! Mias looked for something there, but I'm not sure. Oh, Biob as well, taking so much damage. Has to use his ult and his flash, just in trade for a normal assault.
Now Swan is here. Can they actually do something about this?
They are collapsing here. Mias takes the hook and goes instantly down. Nor gets stunned up. He does use the ult. Oh, that's a lot of damage. And he gets out in the end, actually takes
and now Razor's there. Razor approaches from the top.
Here. This is really bad. That's 2 down already. Can they save DivKid? It's so important. And
wow.
They don't. Oh, no. And Mias has to run as well. And Dia1, you're in the middle of nowhere. You've got a pack of wolves coming for you, but they don't find him.
Yeah, Dia1 is the strongest member on the side of EVOS, but it's still a huge fight victory for Dashing Buffaloes. They finally blow open the game even more, and will, after 2 very questionable games, look at closing out this series 2-1. But they were in a similar position in game 1, so we'll still have to see how they adapt their mid-game strategy. So
why don't they turn around at that point?
It's very greedy. It's very greedy.
You don't need to keep going and just eat a Nico ult. You can just turn around.
Yeah, it's also very sloppy from them not being on top of the timing there for Null's flash. They should have known that Null has flash available, and with flash available and the turret still standing, there's no way this play will ever work out. So just be content with your first kill. You got 1 kill back. Very good kill for DivKid. He's able to finish his Trinity Force. 1 for 0 from behind. Super good play. Overextension, not so much.
Exactly. It's a bad time if you're an EVOS fan. I think there was so much hope after game 2. I think they legitimately looked a little bit better.
Yeah.
But This game's looking pretty rough.
This game is looking really rough. And Razor, once again, with a very good laning performance. This time, even on the mid-game teamfights coming in much stronger. We had a bit of criticism towards him in the later stages, getting caught out, especially in game one, a few too many times. Really playing like the player he replaced in Zeros. Very similar mistakes and tendencies, I think. They seem to be quite similar. I think Zeros' highs are still much higher than Razor. But it's only his fifth game on the stage, so he has a lot of room to grow. And I think it's very promising for the Dashing Buffaloes to have this rookie come in and win every laning phase.
I don't think it would be particularly fair to either player to really compare them at the moment.
No, yeah.
Rizo hasn't played very many games. Zeros, you'd be judging him off form that's not particularly up to date. Like, we haven't seen him play yet.
Yeah, if he plays like he did in MSI, this replacement is actually just perfectly fine for Dashing Buffaloes, because Zeros did not look great there.
I mean, while we're talking about Zeros, like a player who is not in this game, Mias is dead.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not too interesting there. Mias just gets caught out. Very good play by Big Crow and Palette.
Ooh, a lot of damage onto Null.
What?
Okay, Divkid has that Triforce, has that Muramana. Bingo, bango, you're in the ground, mate.
He's the shining light of his team. Look at all the stats. This time, stats don't lie. We have kind of criticized the official broadcast for only going for stats when looking at MVP, but this time, Divkid really is the only shining light for his team. Dia1 kind of joining him a little bit. He has a very good laning phase as well. Is able to dish out a lot of damage, but Divkid, clean kill there and all. And did you see how fast he killed him? This is a very strong Ezreal.
Yeah, 2-item Ezreal is no joke. It's such a strong power spy. He's just an absolute artillery piece with those Qs. I think if EVOS wants to try and get back into this game, they need to play around this. Biob, you've got to stop getting caught, champ.
Yeah, indeed.
And Meliodas is going to follow with the ult. Rizo is going to pick up that kill. Good night, mate. Got to not have that happen. Ugh.
Yeah, Biob with his fourth death of the game, really not showing up today. I think overall his series has not been great. Second game looked better than he maybe played because of Palette's inting in the lane, but yeah, his second game was okay, but first and third game, not the greatest for the new support for EVOS. They are now looking at 5k disadvantage there, and to be fair, EVOS has kind of stalled out the game a little bit. 5k was, we were already looking at 6k a few minutes ago, so it's a similar trend to the first game, where EVOS almost made it back. We might be in for another very long one, I'm afraid.
We might be. I mean, I'm okay with a long game. I'd like to see some fight back. I don't like it. I don't like the idea that our game 3 is just going to be a bit of a stomp here from the Buffalo.
Yeah, that would be very sad.
They do. I think the Buffalo do look like they know what they're doing a little bit better. Really, I think they might have, upon seeing it go to game 3, might have had a coach, just say, lads, what are you doing?
Yeah, and
don't lose this series, or you'll be tasting the back of my hand.
And look at this itemization from Razor. He's so far ahead. He is sitting on a 500 gold bounty. No one is able to answer him in the side lane, I think. Maybe Mias right now will actually live, because he has itemized a lot of early magic resist there.
Yeah, but that's an extra.
Razor now can show us how well he's equipped to play side lanes.
Yeah, exactly. We can see if he can impress us on another champion. Though his Akali hasn't been bad. Still more thinking about his Aatrox performances. Yeah. See if we can really make his mark as an Akali as well.
I think what we can take away from the first first week with with DBL's new top laner, is that he likes to play carries, and he's also definitely a point on the map you can play around. He has a very good laning phase, and you can gank him repeatedly, and he will do something with his lead. Maybe not so much in terms of team fighting, but his 1v1 is looking very strong.
Baron started. I think they sniffed out that EVOS was going for a reset, so they're just instantly starting Baron. Is Sorn going to check this? He does. He knows, but he's going to get caught. He
Ult
pops
invested,
Ragnarok
ult
and
invested.
Flash, so he might be able to get away.
Nope.
Never mind, Meliodas already had him. You're gone. Ryzo's coming in. Oh, you're in some trouble here, Deer1. Never mind. Away.
Deer1 gets away. That's very important for EVOS, and the Baron is actually cancelled, so
for now.
They need... yeah, they'll probably go back to the Baron, but they invested quite some ultimates there. Razor without ult, Meliodas without ult, Big Koro missing his as well. So this Baron is actually not the easiest to finish. If EVOS wants to contest, they still have Ezreal ult available.
Like bottom lane. Don't show in the bottom lane, Miz. I think that's super dangerous.
They're very late on the contests. Ooh,
Null actually manages to dodge that ult there. The teleport is coming in from Mias. They have to get there so quick. The smite's already happened. Can they clean up some kills? The Irelia ult is good.
Oh no, Mias. Oh, he gets murdered. So now the game is blown wide open by DBL. A bit of a questionable execution there, but they get the Baron. In the end, it was smite against no smite, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. Not the cleanest execution on the Baron take, but in the end, it was not really under that much contention, I think, because of the smite advantage. Now they're sitting at an 8k gold advantage with Baron available to them. Game 1, they needed 4 Barons and 2 Elder Dragons to close out the game. I don't think...
that's one. Only 3 more.
I don't think they'll struggle this much.
No, this is just so unfortunate for Sorn. I don't necessarily think that was his fault. He had to go check.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a failure from EVOS in general that they had no way to check Baron.
And usually Olaf is actually very good at checking because of his ultimate, right? So he thought he could get out of there. His flash was maybe a little bit late. Ult as well. I think if he instantaneously ulted there and flashed over the wall, he might have been able to get away. But yeah, small mechanical mistake, resulting into eventually the Baron take. 2 minutes of Baron buffs. This should be at least one inhibitor if DBL plays this correctly.
Yeah, you'd think so. This bot lane push already is looking so threatening. There's so little EVOS can do. They're really just waiting for a mistake from the Buffalo, which is such a terrible situation to be in.
Yeah, but Buffaloes have made many mistakes.
Oh, no, God damn it, I get baited by that.
Yeah, once again.
I just see the name bar. I'm like, Null. He's running at the enemy team.
Yeah, he's running it down once again. What are dashing Buffaloes players doing? But
Null, known for his ridiculous plays. He's not a strong back or anything.
Yeah, once he cosplays as Palette, I think we'll fall for that bait every time. Looking at Palette's plays so far in the series. I-Edge completed. I-Edge completed for Deer1. It's a little bit of a power spike there. So if anything is possible still for EVOS, it's a crit. It's 2 crits in a row from Deer1 turning around to fight. It's not out of the realm of possibility, I think, for them to win a fight, especially if Razor kind of misplays his cards.
Yeah, it's going to be...
Look at this itemization from Akali. But Null?
Ooh, Null does actually get caught here. Palette takes a lot of damage as well. Has to go golden. But Ryzer's in the backline, but I think you're a little bit too deep there,
He missed everything there.
A huge turn. This is a huge turn. Big Koro's going to be next. He does get one back onto Beyond, but who cares? It's just a brawl. But in the top lane, it's
but
Meliodas.
this really doesn't matter.
Oh my god.
Oh, Meliodas going in.
It might matter.
Holy! That was not expected. Meliodas actually seeing his opportunity there and securing the inhibitor. So this is actually a kind of even trade. EVOS will still be happy with how this turned out. Kind of. Deer1 didn't expect to die there.
Yeah, I think the Buffalo are happy just because they got an inhib. And an inhib tower. The base is broken.
Yeah, but we have to see the fight again. Razor missed absolutely everything there.
Yeah, it wasn't a good time.
So Null gets caught. We just praised him for not overextending a lot.
To be fair, he got Flash Irelia ulted.
Okay.
That's barely his fault. Does get the ult off. A lot of damage is down, but it's just not enough.
Deer1 has to back off. Wow, Raizo managed to completely score a goal there. Not a single player hit by his first ultimate. Um, Impressive. I think it was harder to not hit anyone than to hit literally anyone there. So yeah, Razor gets to score a goal with his ultimate. Still sits on 414, and look at his items. That's some damage coming out of him.
Yep, this is all in. I want to blow you up.
And 4 working
Goodbye.
stopwatches for the next fight. So DBL investing into the next team fight. EVOS needs to get a read on the enemy items, the enemy team's items, because if they don't know about the stopwatches, so on, wow, they'll probably bite the dust more quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a very interesting next fight with all those stopwatches. The stasis effect is just so ridiculous.
So much delay going on. Oh, actually, one stopwatch converted into a very early or very strong early Guardian Angel there on Meliodas. Look at Meliodas' stat line, 505.
Yeah, he's having an absolute banger.
Solo killing the enemy mid laner who was 2 levels ahead.
They're going to try and catch Raizo out here, but the Irelia roll misses.
Yeah, sadly for EVOS, every play that they attempt when they want to be aggressive doesn't turn out well. While they are pretty good at the defensive, I think, so far. Have been very successful at defending everything there.
To an extent.
I mean, okay, they lost the top inhibitor, which was just a 1v1 outplay, but everything else has been quite well done by EVOS. 3 item power spike now for the core key.
Howlett is fairly far ahead here, but they don't have any vision behind him, so it's a bit too dangerous for them to go for it.
Actually spotted once again. Baron number 2. We are still 3 Barons off for DBL to finish the game, so will they be able to secure their second Baron?
Yep, we also need EVOS to go take that Ocean Drake.
Please don't remind me.
So that they can get an earlier Elder Dragon for the Buffalo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need to be generous here on the EVOS side, because why would they make it easier for them to win this game? It's already way too easy for them.
Yeah, precisely. It's only game 3, and they look like they're losing, but they're just sandbagging.
Yeah.
They'll turn on soon, right?
Yeah, they're in the second game they messed up, and they actually showed how they can play. So now they need to temper expectations once again.
Baron started here. It's going to go down quickly.
Yeah, no contest at all. Very conservative approach. That's actually very wow. I'm weirded out by this decision by EVOS. All 5 players alive, only 1 inhibitor down in the top lane, so that's not.
If you're not going to contest that Baron, when are you?
Yeah, exactly. When are you trying to win this game?
Better. Yeah, it's not getting better. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, luckily for them, DBL seems to not realize that they have to kill the last Elemental Drake to actually get the 2 Elder win condition online. Palette, call out.
Yeah, but they won't go in on him. In fact, he'll actually go in on Mias. Doesn't commit to even just the auto attack, which I think would have bought a lot of time there. But Meliodas taking a lot of damage, but they don't have anything to go in on him. That True Shot Barrage goes across the team and does quite a lot. And then the Aurelia roll's really big.
Bikoro is in a lot of trouble.
Raizo is in heaps of trouble here. Does the stun land? It does. Ooh. The long-range Corki auto procs the Braum passive.
Yeah, and if anyone is... Sorry, continue.
They lost the Nexus turret.
Oh, yeah, that's not great. But DBL finally going back to the Dragon and activating their true Elder Dragon win condition in 10 minutes of time. Or 12 minutes, I should say. But, yeah, once again, Razor not showing up in the teamfights, I think. 4 or 5 very good laning phases out of him. And I still have a lot of question marks concerning his team fighting. I think he has not looked great on any champ in the team fights. Aatrox being his best.
Yep.
How does this last? Oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah, it was just the auto was just following him the whole time.
And the crit animation looks so weird on the Corki.
It really does.
throws. I'm not even sure what he's throwing there. But yeah, now the Corki is sitting very comfortably at 50% crit, a lot of attack damage, and even a lot of MR as well. So it's very hard for Razor to really do anything anymore. Look at the
This is a
item
really
certificate as well.
It's a really strong point here for EVOS with that 3-item Corki and the 3-item Ezreal, but they're unfortunately just already so far behind that it doesn't really matter. And that's such a shame.
Yeah,
If they were a little bit closer,
or if they had a different
maybe
champ in the jungle, even they would have had better chances at winning the game. Because this
Olaf has done nothing.
Yeah, Olaf is
Can you imagine
absolutely
a
useless.
Skarner? Can you imagine how hard Ryze would be shut down by a Skarner?
Yeah, exactly. It's so sad that the VCS does not seem to realize how strong the Skarner is.
Yeah. It doesn't, and also like it seems like Skarner would kind of fit some of the VCS style. You can go for early fights on top of your Spires.
Yeah, and he's very good at counter ganking as well. Big core now and a bit. Yeah, he's getting out of there. Look at the damage on Sorn.
So yep, and this is going to be the fight that ends the game because the bot lane's already dead.
This is a really annoying trend in the VCS, I have to say. All the close games just end by someone making a really dumb mistake and dying for absolutely no reason. So now EVOS will just lose the series after fighting back for a lot of time. Oh, Tier 1 gets caught out and goes down.
And that... Are they going to get this last kill? No. But that will be game. Dashing Buffalo wins the series 2-1. That was certainly a series.
And Dashing Buffalo, looking like the weaker team for, I think, 70% of the series probably, comes out ahead 2-1 with two stronger early games. Once again showing that they are the early game team in the VCS and probably the worst, the biggest difference between early and mid and late game in this team. As their early game is probably even world class, I would say, in most cases, if they are not going for Karthus. They seem to be very good at about securing early game leads, but their mid and late game really needs a lot of work, and it's a bit concerning that they are still looking this bad in the mid game, this badly coordinated. To be fair to them, they have a new player, and they need to reintegrate a new voice into their system. But
yeah, but I think Ryze looks really good.
Yeah, he still needs to tone down a few of the rookie mistakes there in the team fights especially, but he has a very good laning phase, and that's the most important part almost all the time. If you can build on communication, you can improve your teamwork, but improving your mechanics is not as easy. And he seems to have very good mechanics, a very good champion pool as well. You can play around him, you can gank his lane, set him up for plays. So
yeah, very true.
Quite successful debut, I think, for the new top laner for Dashing Buffalo.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he's looked really good in almost every game we've seen him in. I don't think there's been a game that we can point to that he's looked bad.
Yeah, with the game loss, interestingly, Dashing Buffalo is not coming into a game week 2 as the #1 team, as two of the other teams have actually secured a 4-0 score. Lowski Esports and Team Flash sitting at 4-0 there. So Dashing Buffalo only in third position so far. Obviously still 2-0 in terms of series, so everything fine for them as long as they can win everything. They're in a very good spot. But next week we'll get to see Flash against Dashing Buffalo right on Thursday, so that's a really hard test for Dashing Buffalo, and I would favor Flash to win this game right now. Obviously, there's still a week to improve, but looking at the games today, I think Flash looked much better.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of time still for adaptation and things to be changed, but I think Flash has looked really solid, as you said. I think it'll be a good series.
Hopefully. Sometimes we jinx series by this quite a bit. This series, I'm not sure if I would call it a good series. It was a very fascinating series, back and forth, quite different in terms of gameplay. First game, scrappy and very drawn out. Second game, very controlled and very much in favor for EVOS from start to finish. And third game, back to the first game style, but a little bit more decisive for Dashing Buffaloes.
Yeah, I agree. That's a very good way to sum it up. We do need to see, just in general, for the VCS teams to sort of work out more solid game plans that go past 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Work on those rotations, that sort of thing. But we'll get there. It's only week 1.
I think
There's plenty
rightfully the two teams that look best in mid and late game are sitting at 4-0. I think we can see a clear trend there that the mid and late game are very important. My ranking for mid and late game would be probably Flash over Loki over EVOS actually. I think EVOS's mid and late game looks pretty solid. They had strong opponents today, but overall I still think they are the better mid game team compared to the Buffaloes.
Agreed.
So yeah, maybe Loki's actually
Buffalo.
not sure on Loki. Loki is very hard to assess for me. I think Flash overall has impressed me a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll see. Like as I said, we don't have to make any like very locked in power rankings after 1 week of play.
Yeah, definitely not.
We have plenty of time.
I just checked the schedule for next week again, and Loki is actually playing Dashing Buffaloes on a Sunday too. So Dashing
That'll be
Buffaloes will face both Flash and Loki next week, playing against the two other teams. With that's a banger of a schedule there. Thursday against Flash, Sunday against Loki. If they win both series, they are coming into Rift Worlds really looking like the best team in Vietnam, I think. And the opportunity for Flash to establish themselves in the upper echelons as well, playing Buffaloes and EVOS, not an easy schedule either.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. It's going to be hard to figure out power rankings for a little bit. I think we'll get a much better idea of how good the Buffalo are when we see what they do against other like definitely top tier VCS teams.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and it's still also very hard to assess how strong EVOS actually are, because they played against FTV, and FTV is probably the weakest team in the league. Maybe Cerberus is weaker, but we can't really know. FTV looks really bad. Now they played against Buffalo, and we can't really know how strong Buffalo would perform against Flash until next week. So might be that EVOS actually had a easier competition than we think they had, and will actually end up being not quite as highly rated as I now have the feeling they are. But yeah, it's only week 1, so a lot of room to grow.
I agree. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Lastly, MVP for this game?
Difficult. Thinking Meliodas, maybe?
Once again, I think Meliodas and Null are the two people in contention.
Yeah. I think those two are... I think you're right that it's one of those two. Maybe give it to Null because we gave it to Meliodas last time.
Is that how MVP works out?
Is that how that works? I don't know. Well, it's better than just looking at who had the most kills.
Yeah, what did Meliodas actually do in this game? Yeah, Meliodas gets the kill. That's the MVP of the official broadcast. I think that's very fair. I'm leaning towards him as well.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, then let's just lock in the MVP for Meliodas. Getting double MVP today for us as well. I think the official broadcast as well. So jungle MVP really shining through today. All 5 games were jungle MVPs for us. Double Heejin MVP, double Meliodas MVP, and 1 more MVP for Sorn for EVOS there. So I think we might be a bit biased towards junglers, interestingly, even though I am really not a jungle player. But yeah,
I play a fair bit of jungle, so I'm just sticking to my brothers. But I mean, in the end, when you have a league that prioritizes early leads,
junglers are very important.
But yeah, anyway, we will have to see what happens next week.
And this is very different from our rankings. To be fair, Heejin and Sorn are actually in our top 5 as well. Looking at my notes here, I think Meliodas, Sorn, and Heejin sitting at more than 1 MVP each, and then everyone else is spread out. We have way more support MVPs than the official broadcast. For some reason, they seem to hate supports. They have not given away a single support MVP, which is quite sad.
Well, they don't get killed.
I guess so. Their stats are not looking too great.
It is. I mean, MVPs are hard sometimes because you don't really know what's going on internally in the team. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think that will be it for the first week of VCS. I'm very happy to be bringing you VCS action. I hope you had a good time watching this very drawn out series with a lot of breaks and a lot of back and forth and long games. And we'll be back next week with more series, more VCS action. Thank you for joining me for the first week every day. And yeah, see
hope
you
to be joining
guys.
you for some more.
See you
Cheers.
guys next week.